Yo, I felt with my eyes open. And when she was just you, and I'm just like, I might have to say. I was like, yeah, no.
Someone just told me 25 minutes to my mind, and I was like,
And I'd be like, I zoned out so
What's that?
what? And you go fast.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda first? Is there a second? Any objections? Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Can everyone stop talking?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Cool. Any objections? Okay, we're gonna, we skipped, so elections are first right now. And Zach's not even here. Where's that motion?
He was just here.
He just motioned and seconded and no one objected to it.
He's right there in the hallway if you want to get.
Can you?
Zach!
It's your school line.
Hey.
Okay, we're gonna do academic senate elections. You just voted? Didn't we do that last week?
No. That was academic.
Oh, wait, yeah.
No, you put time on it.
Yeah.
James?
I'm gonna make April.
Second. Any objections? Well, yeah, so second to that. Okay, anyone else want to run for academic senate? Yeah? Gonna run? Okay, so in April. Can everyone sit down and be quiet, please? We're not gonna start until I get silence. Paul. Paul. Okay. We're having academic senate elections right now. April and Nicole are running. So if you two could stand up and just say something about why you think you're fit for the committee.
Can I stand here?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is April. I'm a freshman here, and I'm looking for ways to get involved on campus. I think it would be really great if I could be involved in academic senate. I think that the relationships between students and faculty is something really important, but also it's something that interests me. And I don't have a major yet, but I'm looking to major in sociology with a focus in criminology. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need a fine and performing arts seat, and I'm free Fridays at 3:30, and would really like to be there for the meetings and everything. Yeah.
Any questions for the nominees, candidates? Wait, what school are you running for? Undeclared.
Major with LAS, there's no LAS seat. But she's undeclared.
And she's not declared yet.
But she's intended for LAS, so she can be LAS.
She intended to be computer science.
Do you intend to be computer science now?
I'm just going for sociology, that's all. So, I don't know.
As far as we know, you want to be.
Is it cool?
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Wait,
You're thinking of
I have fun from arts, that's filled, education's filled,
So you want to do science?
technology.
Oh, yeah, that's the best.
No, engineering means science engineering.
No, she's in the class. She only
So
James?
is it like, quite a question for George, is this like, she can be in the seat until she declares a major, and then she'll be not?
We've done that before.
It's a faculty governance.
Yeah, no, for faculty governance, we've done that before. We had someone sit on the seat until they declared something, they were undeclared.
But they were intended to be in that school. She's not intended to be in science and engineering.
Well, what if she changes her mind?
She's not in the school yet.
Nick,
Exactly.
She might change her mind.
the best.
This is based on our conversation with the faculty governance presiding officer, where she wanted intended majors or majors.
I think we should Second.
Is there a second? Any objections? Alright. April and Nicole, do you discuss that with them? Okay. Motion to discuss.
Nicole said just vote for her, so, what's her name? April.
I think it really sucks because she's a freshman and like it takes a lot of guts to like come out here and like say like, you know, like she wants to get involved.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
I'm saying like she's a freshman and it takes a lot for her to come up here and say like she wants to get involved and she seems like genuine about it and it sucks like we have to like turn her away because of her intention to major in like liberal arts, but like I don't know, I think that's kind of silly. And I hope they're discussing it back there and they're willing to give her a chance. Because she's not, you know, like she wants to get involved.
Any other discussion points, questions? What is So.
Or you can jump jack.
So can she run for the position or? Or
Can run for it. Faculty governance can overrule it if they choose to, but she can run for it.
Second? Second. Any objections? Okay, how do you want to vote? Separately or together? Together. Okay. All in favor for both of them? For academic side?
The Striff and the.
All not in favor? And all abstaining. You can let the men go over the phone. Okay, next on elections is UPD, right? Yes,
I nominate April.
okay, April do separate nominations for UPD. Okay. Fly again.
So, April, I'm a freshman. I think it would be great if I'd be able to be part of the UPD committee. I've always been interested in criminology. My whole family's in law enforcement. My dad and 3 uncles were first responders at 9/11, so it's always been something that's really prevalent. And as I think that the relationship between students and UPD is something really important, but it also interests me a lot. And because I'm looking into going into sociology with the focus in criminology, I think the experience of being on the committee would be really great. So.
Second? Second. Any objections? Okay, all in favor for April for UPD committee? Please raise your hand. All right, all not in favor?
You got Rosemary's vote.
All abstaining? Okay, congrats. All right, so we're gonna go back to the top of the agenda with keyword reports, first being the president's speech.
What's up, everybody? If everyone can take a couple minutes of silence with me, just want to honor the recent loss that we've had and make sure that all the love and support that we're generating from here towards their families and friends goes unnoticed. So I want to take to Precious Newkirk. She was a Sodexo employee that worked in the Hasbrook. She worked mainly in the dessert section, so if anyone is familiar with her face, you all know who she is and whatnot. So just want to take a moment of silence and respect towards her. So. a report necessarily for this week, but I was just wondering, as a personal question, if anyone was interested in kind of holding some kind of memorial type thing in honor. Yes, is that a agree?
Yeah,
Hands up.
yeah.
Chris, motion to recognize Mike. Is there a second?
Second.
I'm meeting with some students Monday at 10 a.m. who Step Forward Start Memorial Service Program, so I don't know if folks want to see me after. I can talk to you about that. But there's already a meeting scheduled to do one. Mihal over in Esopus Hall is the one who's sort of leading that cause, the Esopus Hall president.
If you can't make it towards the meeting, can we just talk to you afterwards to still be involved somehow?
Yeah, anyone that's involved, I can put you in touch with Mihal afterwards.
Yeah, so it's my report. Oh, sorry. SUNY Assembly, I registered for a room because the deadline to register was March 10th, so next week Tuesday. I still haven't registered for the individuals who signed up. I still haven't registered your names to participate, so I just wanted to send a quick shout out to see who's definitely for sure. I know Nick is for sure, Sarah's for sure, James is. The date is April 10th. I know you guys are for sure. But anyone else I haven't spoken to, please reach out to me to let me know if we're definitely for sure going. Alright? So,
For sure.
so does anyone have any questions on that? Interesting though. Alright, thank you.
Next is the BP.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's I guess a sad time for many of us here at New Paltz. So, I got just a couple things here. I got the data from Linda Eaton that I was looking for. I'm gonna follow up with her about a little more information regarding the rehabilitation programs that they have here at the school. So there's that. I have a quick correction from last week. I referred to the CERT program as the Certification Emergency Response Team. It's actually the Community Emergency Response Team. So quick clarification there. Me and Nicole Strifolino are meeting with Susan Zemet on Friday to discuss police officers. That's all I have. Any questions? Thank you.
Next is, VP of Academic Affairs.
Hello. Met with the library dean. He said the construction should be done by the fall 2015 semester. It should not enter into spring 2016. Hopefully, but there have been delays this whole process, so who knows what can happen. CRC met, there's a lot of legislation coming towards this body this and next week. So hopefully, some of these are time sensitive and really should be passed tonight. Others can wait till next week. Because Bree's not here, so I don't know.
Should wait till well, I mean, I presented. I guess I went over with Brady.
Yeah, only one of hers is on there, but I don't think the administrative response thing is on there either. So yeah, so much motion to add that on there first, I guess. And I think yeah, that's it. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Motion to add administrative response to the business. That's the first item.
Administrative response. Okay. Could you put that on?
Second.
Oh yeah, sorry. Any objections?
Oh, right. Well, yeah. Professor Cox, and we also have Josh Otero in the back from and the new Jim Crow Action Network, right? To speak about the Ban the Box campaign that I believe our school should definitely support, endorse, and hopefully move statewide. And he and Professor Cox will go into that later. She's here. Yeah.
What's the next academic senate?
It's probably gonna be next Friday.
Because you always tell me.
I told you last time I accidentally scheduled CRC during the last meeting, so I couldn't do it. But it's probably gonna be next Friday. Janice hasn't gotten back to me.
Oh, that's a whole.
What?
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you.
You didn't even go to last semester's one time. Okay. End of report.
Thanks, Jordan. Next, I want to say is, I want to guess, Rosemary.
So far in conference, there's 36,219, research grant 3,690, and GP 51,228. Since all charters were due, any club that did that charter that had a line item lost the line item, so now there's 34,828 and BFC unappropriated.
34.
Any questions?
I get a cover.
Can those funds be moved to general programming or no?
Yeah.
Split into
Theoretically, yes.
GP and conference funds or something?
Any other questions? Rosemary? Alright, thanks, Rosemary. Next
You'll probably know this, but the spring concert is April 25th. We are finally launching the essay newsletter. I sent out an email, so if you want to add anything to the newsletter, please email me so I can add it. Make sure it's just in a way where a non-Senate student will understand, so don't make it all like legal and legislative kind of. Yeah, that's it.
Wait. When is the first
Oh,
newsletter
yeah.
going out?
Sunday. Get it to me before Sunday.
Okay.
Saturday. Get it to me before Saturday.
Alright, thanks.
Hi, everyone. So council board did not meet yesterday. Yesterday's Tuesday, right? Yesterday because of the snow. So what is intended is that we're going to have a council board meeting after the next council meeting, because after that meeting is spring break. So we really don't want to push things back any further. We should know by then if we have any new clubs or anything like that. Like Rosemary said, charters were already due, so any charter that is now handed in is late and they've lost their line items. At our next council meeting, we're going to talk about how to fuse rooms, and we're going to talk about the proposed plan for meals, the meal plan. And then the next one, we're going to talk about how to go about getting office space and this thing that we're implementing, which is an inventory list and office space agreement. Any questions? Okay, we'll have a great meeting.
Next is me. I have the report. So we're gonna move on to, oh, I didn't do it again, crap. Chief Justice.
We don't really have a lot to talk about again. We're pushing forward. We finally met all 5 of us, which was good, I guess. Right, thank you. We're all in attendance, but we're really pushing forward. If anybody can just go online and just like our Facebook page, we're really trying to make that like our main avenue to the rest of campus, because people really don't know who we are, and we found that that was a good way of getting people's attention. So if you go on, it's New Paltz Student Association Judicial Board. It's on Facebook, like it. We're just trying to get out there, and it really doesn't do us any good to help people resolve conflicts unless they know who we are. So just spread the word. And we have an email now, so that's great. That's all I have.
Any questions? Thanks. Now on to Senate reports, 5 minutes each. Any Senate reports? Jay?
There's there's a PowerPoint up there about the new meal plans that Cass is proposing to roll out for next year. I'll explain everything then. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. Cass board meeting next week, next Wednesday, 10:30. You should come. I'll look forward to it.
James Dunn?
Oh? Yeah.
Mary Rights was this past Tuesday. It went pretty well. The costumes are amazing and telling us how to exercise our rights. It would have been nice to see more people there. Hopefully, you guys could continue the tradition of having one every year, every semester. And, Mary Rights.
Questions, comments? Thanks, Brandon. Any other Senate reports, Zach?
So, academic affairs met today. We're discussing more about the SEIs, and the faculty members asked us to, the faculty members on the committee asked the whole committee to think of 2 questions you would want to see on your SEIs. 2 that were proposed to us were, please offer suggestions that would improve future versions of this course. For instance, you might comment on the use of class time, homework assignments, course materials, content delivery, and any other academic components of the course. So it's very open-ended, but still kind of structured for you to write any comments you want about class. And I think the next one, which is very awesome that the faculty proposes, is please comment on your satisfaction with the general learning environment in terms of classroom accessibility, physical comfort, classroom equipment, and the overall dynamic between students and with the instructor. So it goes to show that the faculty are really cognizant about the socio, mental, and emotional status of the students. So I'm very happy that the faculty are open to this and seeing it on their SEIs. If there are any other questions that you would want to see on there or have any ideas about, please let me or Sean know so we can bring it back to the committee. And the other thing that we're talking about is trying to think of a campus-wide policy on academic integrity, plagiarism, etc. like that. Very type of stuff. But yeah, so if you have any questions you would want to see on the SEIs, please let me know. Because we're really overhauling the system and it'd be great to get student opinion on that.
What if not a question you would like to see on it, or like a suggestion on a different way to execute it, or something like that?
In terms of
Like the way it's done, or how it's done, like after grades, or before grades and anonymous and things like that.
So you want it after grades?
No, I'm just saying in general. Like if we had a suggestion in that arena, would we still bring it to you?
Yeah, like if you have anything you want me to talk about to the committee, let me know. So.
Morelli, then Zai.
Yeah, just to go off what Kim was saying, SEIs, we do them before our grades are back, right?
Yes.
So would it be possible to do SEIs post grades, or is there a reason why they're done prior to grades?
I think the reason, we tossed around that idea, SEIs after grades, sorry. We talked about that idea. It either had to do with them getting it implemented within their dossiers and in the files sooner. And also they don't want to your final grade to affect your SEI because your SEI is based off of your experience with the professor and how the professor did and whether you enjoy it. How effective they were, but that really shouldn't affect, your grade shouldn't affect how you perceived your professor and what your opinions were.
Well, you could have.
And that's a good, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I understand where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
I heard that they were gonna, when I was a sophomore, that my professor said they were thinking of maybe, it was talked about making them public.
Not gonna happen.
No?
Well, in terms of the open-ended comments or the statistical stuff?
No, the statistical stuff about the professors.
Did we talk about that, right?
We worked on doing that last year, it was kind of getting moved along, but the year ended. I don't know what happened.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
See how that was going.
I know the people at least last year on the committee weren't opposed to it. At least not the statistic part. The comment part we didn't want publicized.
Yeah, I mean the statistic part.
Yeah. I don't know. Has it been brought up again?
Really, James, when you were on it with me, did we really talk about numbers being released?
No.
Oh, the issue that we had with that is that, where would it be kept, who would be housing it, who would be, like, making sure that it's still up there and organizing it. And it was kind of a weird scenario, who would be in control of the numbers. But
Maybe bring it back up.
I'll definitely bring it back up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened. Any other questions, comments? Lucy?
Alright, thank you. Any other comments?
In like the last week, I really started getting going with the possibility of bringing a plastic bag ban to campus. I met with sustainability coordinator Lisa Mitten on Friday, and then this morning with Cole and Alex, and she's really on board for it. But the whole thing is it has to be student fueled, and so in the next like month or so, we're going to be like really stressing, like informing everyone of like the hazards and like the reasons why we want this. And then by like the end of March 30th, we're having a screening of Plastic Paradise, and that's when we're going to launch a survey. Because so we're hoping by like March 30th we'll have gotten the word out by then, and everyone's as informed as possible. And then yeah, so if anyone wants to help or is interested in doing that, obviously once the survey comes out, hopefully all of you could let it out to everyone you know. But yeah, that's it.
Ricky? So instead of plastic bags, do you want to do like paper bags? Do you want to bag this?
So what we're discussing right now is like, well, first off, the survey would be, because it's either going to be like 3 choices. It would be between like leaving it how it is, or having like a minimal fee for a bag, which would be like maybe like 10 cents or something like that, or just like an all-out ban. Either of one of those though, we're going to push for reusable bags. Like at the bookstore, they'll have like maybe like we talked about cloth bags or things like that that would be available.
So like an alternative as paper bags, would that be something, instead of a charge, would that be something y'all are open to, or is it like you have those 3 options and you still have?
Just to go off of that, one of the points was that in the winter, the paper bags aren't going to work because snow and like water or whatever is going to like damage them, and then people are going to get pissed.
And we're just trying to go like straight for like reusable bags.
Yeah.
You know?
Because it's just kind of easier. We were talking about maybe making them like really like cheap and accessible to in like the bookstore, or maybe handing them out at like orientation.
Like, and I understand like there's people who like aren't like for this, and I know like, and especially like when I was brought in, like that was the case. Like in the beginning, I was too like, wait, why the hell am I paying for bags? You know, but you know, like that's why we are doing the survey. But hopefully, like, I mean, we're going to inform people enough so like people can make an informed decision whether it's worth it or not. Obviously, some people think it is, some people don't. But whatever like we end up going for will be hopefully like what the overall student body is like more in favor of.
I was just thinking, like, even though paper bags don't work in the winter, I feel like a paper bag is better than no bag for some people. Like, people would be more open to switching over to that, and then gradually in the future maybe switching to no bags. But I think that, like, I'd rather get a free paper bag than pay 10 cents for it, personally. But that was just you might think of it.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure if Eric's going to talk about this at all, but next Tuesday, March 10th, we're going to have a big event. It's called the Solutions Grassroots Tour. It's Josh Fox. I'm not sure if all of you know him, but he's the director who did the Gasline and Gasline 2, the huge movies that really pushed for ultimately a ban of fracking in New York State. He's like basically one of the leaders in that. And Zephyr Teach Out, for any Zephyr Teach Out fans, she's going to be here there as well. So it's going to be a really awesome program. They're going to have music. It's going to be more like theater-based, like more of a show. They're going to have some music playing. It's going to be informative. Like, it's really talking about, okay, we banned fracking in New York State, and how do we move to reusable energy? What can we do in New Paltz or our surrounding areas to, you know, get to solar energy, renewable wind, and like other, you know, reusable energy pass this around. I really hope y'all can come because it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fun and informative and a way to, get involved in the community. So I'm gonna actually start with Chris and then we can pass it around. So hopefully I see y'all there.
Questions? All right, thank you. Any other Senate reports? Yes?
I went to like a meeting today. It was called like a brown bag conversation. Mark Olson, the library dean, kind of coordinated, and it's pretty much a combination of staff and faculty and students. And it was based on like talking about race. And it was a really interesting like meeting, and it was surprising me a lot to know that there are so many faculty members and staff members that want to get involved, and they actually do care, because in my perspective I thought like there's probably like a handful that I can say that actually care about what students think, and there are a lot more, and there is like a barrier between students and faculty and staff, but I think like as like Senate members we should really try and break that barrier and reach out to our professors and reach out to the departments, whether it be a simple email saying, listen, I have this event, I have that event. Like I was describing the privilege program with SJC, and like one of the professor said she wished she would have known because she would have loved to go to something like that. So I just can't reiterate enough. I know a lot of us are really involved, so just really, outreach to your professors, outreach to the departments, so we can, talk about these uncomfortable subjects that a lot of us are very conscious about. And, they can bring a lot to the table because many of them are in a completely different generation than us. So I think we should really start intermingling, and yeah.
Questions? Any other Senate reports? Wait.
Tomorrow BSU is collabing with ISO and Sammy on a program called Cop, Class, and Race. It's going to discuss like police brutality and the police and their role in society and the importance of their role in society. So tomorrow at 6:30 in Humanities 116.
Wait, you said Sammy too?
Yeah.
Also, some professors are offering extra credit.
Oh, yeah, that's
So if you, I emailed the political science department, the black studies department, and the sociology department, a handful of professors hit me up telling me that they would tell their students and will offer extra credit. So pull up, it's like a panel discussion. We have representative from SAMU, BSU, and ISO. So, and we all have different things we focus on. So, yeah. 6:30 in Humanities, 116. Yeah. Pull up.
Alright, any other Senate reports? Paul, and then Sarah.
SCC met yesterday for the first time. We're working on state of the campus on April 1st. It'll be a Wednesday at 6. First, we're trying to get some basic videos done for the student population moving forward. So recurring problems like that maybe we still might face, like choosing a room, so on and so forth. We can probably just make a video for that, send it out to the presidents of clubs, and see how to make it easier. So every year it doesn't really take place, kind of thing. So that's what we're working on, getting those done and getting the event planned and getting the information out there.
Well, mostly doing Jordan.
Second.
What day was that?
Wednesday. April
Sorry, I'm
1st.
still having the.
Well, we're gonna do that 6 and then have Senate after that.
So state of campus. State of campus is gonna be a half hour.
No, like we would have Senate at like our old time at like
8.
No, well, it's just that because we need all senators there, and like when's another time that we could do it? Like we did it last year. Like it took the place of a Senate meeting, but it's also obviously we're gonna have a lot of things to do, so maybe we could just have like another meeting afterwards, and then we'll be.
We're just trying to focus on like the main things that's happening in Senate now, showing the student population and progress that we've been making. And let's say we're talking about tuition hikes, getting this student population informed about what's taking place in Senate instead of like, oh, yeah, I'm a senator, and like not showing the progress that's being made. Kind of thing. So that's what ultimately that forum is for.
How are you promoting it besides flyers?
We're working on that.
Do you have any suggestions?
Co-sponsored organizations? I don't know. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Do you know any that would be like co-sponsored?
Mine. I can think of a couple. Lots and lots.
Do you guys have a room yet or no?
Yes, we do. 108 LC.
108?
Yes, LC 108.
Isn't that one of the side rooms?
No, there's not.
Oh, it's a big one.
It's like the extra room.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, it's organic.
Fernando.
Motion to recognize Asado.
Second.
Could it be like we have everybody kind of give a report during that meeting? Could we have? Could we have like all the executive board members and like the senators give their like report, and then we talk about what's going on campus, and after like when we have the meeting, we just get down to business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that kind of, can we structure it like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to focus on like, just the main things that's happening right now, what's really taking place on campus, getting people informed. Let's say the main people that are working on like a particular issue, they can just speak, but obviously we're going to introduce ourselves. So let's say, I don't know, tuition hikes or someone who's working on that, drug policies, main people that are working on that, they can just explain it instead of like everyone talking at the same time to make it easier for the student population to understand what's really going on.
Just a comment towards that. Like, we did that last time, and it took like at least 20 minutes to get through, and people were like bored out of their minds. So can we just keep it really succinct?
Yeah.
We're not gonna have like everyone be like, I'm this is my committee, and then I'm in this committee. We're not doing
Just
that.
do like say what you've been working on.
Yeah, say your name and what you've been working on.
Rather than the people.
Yeah.
Okay.
More like what Senate is like collectively working on.
Yeah.
Okay.
The biggest issues.
Thank you.
It'd be like giving Senate reports, not like everyone speaks, you know?
It'd be just like what you've been working on the past semester. Okay.
Any other questions?
Jesse and I met with the police chief on Monday to talk about getting UPD accredited, and they're already in the process, so that's great.
Since when?
Past couple years. It's a couple-year process apparently.
It's SUNY-wide.
Yes, and it's a city-wide initiative that all of the UPDs are being accredited. We just need to follow through and make sure that they follow
Do it?
through. Yes.
Okay.
Well, any other sign reports? And once, twice. Okay, we're gonna move on to outside bodies. The first being
Hey everyone, so just to address a couple points, one that Nicole made about the plastic bag ban. I know the village recently did a plastic bag ban. The local businesses joined an alliance, almost like a cooperative, where they're buying bags in bulk from a company that aren't plastic, but are eco-friendly recycled material, that are just as durable as plastic bags, and they're saving money on it, while avoiding use of plastic as well. So, know what the guidelines would be to get SUNY New Paltz to join that, or to look into that company if you can find out who that is anyway, and you might be able to save money and not use plastic bags, but still have the convenience of them there. So you should check that out. And then to add on to the event Kelsey was talking about with Josh Fox and Zephyr Teach at next Tuesday, there's also free food. Gomen Kudasai's catering, so very good food at that. So definitely, if you're worried about not being able to eat dinner if you go there, you'll be able to eat as well. So definitely go see that. It'll be entertaining and educational. So as far as NIPERC stuff, last week's Higher Education Action Day was very successful. We had 30 students show up from New Paltz, so the state legislature definitely knew we were there, and I think a couple of your fellow students got to hand deliver the legislation that you passed last Wednesday night to some key representatives, so that's cool, and we were able to keep the momentum going into the next day. We had a call-in day down sub 100 to Governor Cuomo's office since he was left out. He was the only state rep that didn't hear from us the day before, so we made sure his phone was ringing all day on restoring higher education funding in New York State and not accepting the suggestion for tuition increase. So we're going to keep that campaign rolling, and I'll keep you up to date on the details on weeks to come. So the last thing I want to mention over the next week, we're helping with the Josh Fox event there, and then also next Wednesday is the 4-year anniversary of the Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan. So we'll usually do something to raise awareness on the dangers of nuclear energy and to avoid incidents like that. We have a table down at Sub 100, so if you want to learn more about that, then stop by there and check it out. But yeah, that's all I have to report for this week, unless anybody has questions. Thanks.
Professor Cox on bandbox.
Hi everyone.
You can come to the
Oh, should I come up to the front? Okay, great. So I talked to Christine earlier today, and it sounds like I wanted to give you all a little bit of context and history about banning the box, and in particular why it's relevant to New Paltz. And Maria has also been doing some training with me about this issue, so she's going to kick in some student perspectives. So just as a little context, I mean, what we know is that a criminal conviction in this country has profound collateral damage and consequences for people. So we know that it affects people's ability to get housing, to get welfare benefits, to get all other kinds of, sometimes it has immigration consequences. There's sometimes some misperception that if you have a criminal conviction, you cannot get into college. And that is absolutely not true. You can get accepted to a college. The biggest barrier in SUNY schools is not that people get denied admission, but that they check the box, and then in the case of a school like New Paltz, they are demanded to provide information, and they do not move forward with the process. So what we have at New Paltz is what's called denial of admission by attrition. And New Paltz has some of the highest attrition rates in the state for people who check that box. Are y'all with me when I say that? Mm-hmm. So what happens is in New Paltz, almost 80% of the people who check the box receive a letter. I mean, everybody who checks the box receives a letter from what's called our felony review committee. That review committee is headed by Tonda Hiley, who is she works in career services. She's been running that committee for many, many years. The other people who sit on that committee are the UPD chief, Dugatkin, the head of the psychological counseling services, and a couple of other people from around the campus. New Paltz has some of the strictest requirements for people who check that box. That includes that people have to produce their rap sheets, which often cost a lot of money for people. So you can imagine if you come out of prison, you don't have a lot of money in your pocket, you're trying to get off your feet, to have to pay to produce a rap sheet is a kind of pretty bad prospect. You have to produce all of your inmate records, so regardless of whether the number of years that you've been out of prison, you still have to produce those records. So I just met a guy today who's a master's student at New Paltz. He got out 8 years ago, and then he came to New Paltz. So even though he had been out for 8 years, he had to produce all of his inmate history records, which is incredibly difficult to get if any of you have ever had to deal with big state bureaucracies. It's really hard to get that information. You have to produce numerous other pieces of information, and then you have to appear before a felony review committee and meet with that committee. There was a big story this week in the Marshall Project, which is a big criminal justice news source, about a guy who applied to New Paltz. He actually produced all of his paperwork. He had a 4.0 grade point average while he was incarcerated. He appeared before the review committee, and he was denied because he had a history of PTSD. He ultimately, he's going to have to go, he's going to apply to some other area schools. So a couple reasons why this is important to New Paltz. One is that we live in prison country, so we're surrounded by prisons here, and we're really one of the only 4-year four-year state colleges around here, and there are a number of people who participate actually in college programs inside. So Eastern Correctional Facility, for those of you who didn't know, New Paltz used to offer a master's program there. It's right over the mountain. We had a really amazing master's program that lasted for a number of years in Eastern, and many of the graduates from that program have gone on to be leaders in the field of social policy and social research. That prison still has a college program that's run by Bard now. And a number of people are coming out of that prison and entering the region and need and want to be able to have a four-year college to go to. We, as I said earlier, a number of those people don't move forward with the process once they know what they have to produce. So really, one of the kind of key points of trying to ban the box, and I should tell you that there's a statewide coalition called Education from the Inside Out, which is working with students from SUNY schools across the state, particularly Empire State College and a couple others. Geneseo is starting a campaign around this. What folks are trying to do is think about banning the box in the context of other movements around the country to ban the box. So if you weren't aware, Woodstock just banned the box on employment applications. The Ulster County Legislature just banned the box on county jobs. So there's sort of this burgeoning movement around the state and also around the country. And Maria and I went to a training by some people who are doing an Abolish the Box campaign on the Common App, which we are a part of, right? Also, so there's some students from around the country who are trying to ban the box on the Common App. I think those were most of the things I wanted to talk about. I know that you all might have some questions, but I think just thinking about the context, you know, New Paltz used to be known as a school which offered higher education inside. Dr. Carol and I are teaching a class inside a prison this semester. About 3 of our students, including one who's already applied, are interested in coming to New Paltz. One of our students has just applied and he got the letter, and many of the materials that he needs to produce, he can't produce while he's inside because it's impossible to get access to some of the databases he needs. He's a college student, you know, he has a high grade point average. He meets all of the criteria that any other student would meet to come to New Paltz, but there's this barrier in his way. I don't know if you want to add anything about the student perspective.
Sorry, good question. They got that. My only concern is I'm for banning the box, but how about like if people have like serious sex crimes on their record, like something like that, or like a murder charge. You know,
Yes.
I don't want to go to school with like a high profile like rapist, like convicted rapist.
Okay, can I answer Ricky's question first? And then,
I was going to go off, so yes.
Okay. Do you want to add to it, or?
I was just going to say felony on that.
Or the box is for felony convictions only.
Oh, and I just don't know much about it. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to say first what the spirit of this is, which is that, you know, like, so I'm a researcher, like I study prisons and I study people's lives coming out of prison, and what we know is that the research shows us that higher education is one of the greatest indicators of success in terms of an individual's ability to stop offending. So when people get engaged with higher education, what we see is like extremely low rates of reoffending amongst people who go back to college after they've been inside. That's the first thing that I think about. You know, I also have represented countless individuals who have been inside and who come out, including a young man who came here after having a serious felony conviction as a juvenile, so he didn't have a record. He came here, got an A average, you know, he's fine. I think in terms of the sex offender question, this is something that I talked earlier with Christine about. I think about a couple of things. One is that I think we have to think also about we have to connect this to the conversations we're having about sex crimes and sexual violence on college campuses. And what we know is so many of the sex crimes that we know about on college campuses don't come to the attention of police authorities. So why do we think about sort of discriminating against individuals who have a conviction as opposed to those individuals we know who we know have not been apprehended, and instead focus on trying to change the culture around sexual violence and gender violence on the college campuses? The second thing is that those individuals with those convictions are registerable. So that means that they're registered sex offenders. They're going to be not able to live on campus. And they're individuals who, if you do have fears about an individual like this, they're facing the same kind of obstacles that people with a registration would face otherwise. So things that there are protections in place through the registry that if you had fears about those kinds of protections. I mean, I think in terms of murder, I speak more from personal experience. I mean, you have an individual who has been convicted of a homicide or a violent felony, often has been in prison for many, many years. You're looking at someone who's kind of older, who's potentially, you know, been inside a higher education program inside. Often the people who have a murder conviction only have one conviction on their record. They're not, if they're applying to college, these are individuals who have really transformed their lives. And I think if you meet a number of the men, I wish you all could meet a number of the men who've been inside of our master's program. These are men who are teaching in college campuses across New York. Many of them have murder convictions. You know, there's a man who's now doing advocacy for elderly people inside, murder conviction. You know, he spent 40 years inside. These are some of the leaders across the state, many times because they've spent many years inside and they've kind of transformed their lives and coming out. I know that may not sit well with all of you, but this is just, you know, this is sort of personal experience speaking.
What can we do with this information? Like, what would you like us to do with this information?
I mean, I think two things. One is that I said to Christine, the first thing I forgot to say is that there is a short film. For those of you who want to learn more about the research about this, like Rookie, if you want to learn a little more, there is a short film called Passport to the Future that was made. You can just Google it. It was made a couple of years ago, and it includes interviews with people who've been inside and gone to college, and it deals with some of the questions that you have. And then, Ricky, I'll email you a little bit more information about the sex offending questions. I mean, I think that there is an extraordinary power in you all passing a resolution to send and communicate a message that you, as the SUNY New Paltz, can be leaders in this conversation. I mean, as I said, SUNY Geneseo is thinking about this, but this is an Empire State. But I think sending a message to the administration, if this is something that you support, that this is what you value as students, is to have an inclusive campus. Listen, for me, the reason why I work on this is because I think that we have an abysmally low number of students of color on this campus. I think that our campus needs to represent our state. And what I saw in the most recent data, there was a report that was released this week about New Paltz, is that 22% of the applicants who have felony convictions are black men. And 11% of our traditional applicants are black men. And so what we're doing is we're missing an opportunity to really be able to create an inclusive campus community, and one which creates second chances and opportunities for people. And I think New Paltz could be a leader in that sense if you pass the resolution. Is that going to change anything? You know, we don't know, but I think my experience as a student is that you make symbolic gestures, you make national news. New Paltz has been national news this week about this very question. So, you know, you're making a statement that I think could potentially put you out as leaders, you know, in thinking about this issue.
My name is Maria. I was a former senator. Now I'm a part of Students Against Mass Incarceration, and I'm also co-chair for Social Justice Coalition. And really, I guess the part that my organization will be taking part in is getting the rest of the community to know. You all may have like wavering views on banning the box, which is understandable because of like things that Rookie brought up before. That's why we want to bring this stuff to the rest of the community, see how New Paltz feels about it, and to educate them on banning the box and what it does for former incarcerated people, and etc. Like, so SJC and SAMI are hoping to collaborate on a program that we can throw for the community to educate them on this stuff, and then you all will be part of the resolution part, which would be getting the resolution passed, showing that to the administration. We could show that to the rest of the students on campus, because a lot of the time we get stuff done in the Senate and we pass these resolutions, but nobody knows about them. Having a program about banning the box would let the students know and see how the students feel about banning the box, because it's important to bring clarity. Yeah, so we'd be the groundwork and you'd be the paper pushers.
I do have a compromise intermediate proposal for what you can do. If you feel that as a Senate you can't come to consensus about this, one thing that I will say is that our felony review committee, who I met with the head of the felony review committee, she was under the understanding that she is required by SUNY Central to demand the information that she demands. She is not. SUNY Central allows each campus to choose what they want to do in terms of demanding information. Are you all with me? That was kind of confusing. Okay, so each campus gets to decide. our person, like, is a wonderful person. She just has been doing this job forever, and she's under the impression that she must require all this information. I do think that there is an opportunity to sort of to say, look, do we really need to demand someone's psychological treatment history? Let's think about college campuses. Let's think about inclusionary opportunities. I mean, I don't think that someone's psychological treatment history, if every student had to provide their psychological treatment history to admissions, I don't know if we would have a college campus, frankly. So, I mean, let's think about some of the requirements for the Felony Review Committee and maybe push back a little bit and say, hey, these are not required. Can we think about a process that's a little bit more inclusive that doesn't result in such high attrition rates, because we do have high attrition rates. That's an intermediate proposal that you as a Senate could potentially work on to think about.
So like resolution, you mean like write something to pass on to the.
It's here, right? Are you all looking at it today?
I don't think so.
You mean the bill that co-sponsor?
Yeah.
You could put down the agenda.
I think you will. It's a little confusing to me because several people have passed me a bill, but it's a New York State Senate bill, not an SA bill, right? Yeah.
That's something we can co-sponsor and show
Oh,
support
right.
for.
You can support, but so
Yeah.
that's what Education from the Inside Out is doing. They're asking for students to support the bill, which is a New York State Senate bill, and that's great. You can support that. I mean, I think that's a good thing. But I think you all might want to consider drafting your own bill, and I'm happy to help with language around that. But I think you all might want to think about having your own bill, if that's something that you felt like you had consensus about.
I appreciate it. Y'all can make the bill. We'll do the groundwork. We'll get new parts involved.
Cox will help with the bill.
Right.
Any questions, comments?
I appreciate this.
And watch Passport to the Future because it's I think it gives you a good kind of context for the issue.
We did academic senate.
We did election.
All right, academic response resolution.
If you look at this about 1,100 times, I think we're Gucci now.
Getting mad. It's gonna be a problem.
What's going on?
Zach is gonna explain, can we quiet down for a second? Zach is gonna explain the academic response resolution. Fernando.
Motion to recognize.
Any
Motion to recognize.
Second.
Yep. You can speak.
Thank you. I'm going to be brief. She already said a lot of what I was going to be saying anyway. My name is Josh Otero. I'm coming from a different place than Professor Cox. I'm not a professor. I'm too young. I'm from a group called NGen and the New Jim Crow Action Network. We're active in Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, and Kingston. I'm trying to get a section of us going here in New Paltz to deal with how it affects college campuses directly. And just briefly to go along with what she was speaking about Ban the Box, one of the reasons why it's very important, like she said, is for diversity, and we can't really pride ourselves on being a diverse school if we don't make our practices here as far as admissions go more inclusive. I think it's important for students to take a part in this, especially the students that are here now, because you're giving possible students that will be coming into the school an opportunity that they otherwise would not have had. So you would really be assisting. And if you are interested, the inside out people that Professor Cox have been speaking about, I'm in contact with one of them, and they would be more than happy to come and speak with you guys so you can get a good understanding of what it is that's happening exactly. And as far as drafting a bill, I'm sure they would be happy with helping you guys out with drafting a bill as well. And if you have any questions or need any assistance for anything as far as dealing with school to prison pipeline or anything like that, I would try to contact Engine. That's really all I have to say. So if you want to contact me, you can contact me. My email address is josh72421@aol.com. It's josh72421@aol.com. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your nights.
Zach is going to go over the administration response resolution.
Okay. So the bulk of it is the same from last week. The only difference is that we took Jess Hicks's comments and we did the accepted for amended action. So it's going to be like the administration is going to be able to respond by saying what they will do. Like they're not going to accept what we did word for word, but they're going to put some stipulations in there. They're going to say how they're going to interpret it, utilize it, and implement it. So that's the accepted for amended action area. And we had that for the cabinet member as well. So it's just a streamlined process, and it's the same overall piece of legislation. So basically, if you all want to co-sponsor that as well as the Senate, and then just pass it, because this is done. So. Someone wants a motion, let's just get this over with.
Any second, we're gonna vote on co-sponsoring this resolution and
pass it.
No, it's co-sponsor.
She made a motion to pass.
Objection.
Okay, can you slow down real quick? Okay.
So we just added this.
Do you think that would sound better accepted with amended action? What do you mean for amended action?
With amended action? Well then, would it be amended actions? Accepted with. With added action. What is that then?
I was saying, doesn't accepted with amended action mean that it's been accepted already and amended, compared to if it says accepted for amended action, that it's accepted with amendments pending? Language is important.
That's actually.
Why can't, I'm sorry for interrupting. Why can't you use, instead of amended action, with stipulations?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, because it really doesn't, yeah, Fernando's right, the stipulations.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah.
That's actually quite funny.
Seriously right.
Alright, can we quiet down and focus? What exactly do you need to be done tonight?
Co-sponsored and pass it. Because we have so many other pieces of legislation that are most likely going to get passed tonight. And if we don't have this open channel in place, we have no idea what we're going to do with that other legislation. So.
Can you type in stipulations to amended action? Is that what we're doing?
I think there was a discussion.
Accepted with or? Accepted with?
They said they talked about it before, they probably wasn't.
Yeah, we went back and forth.
Purposely did not.
Jordan. No.
Motion to recognize Jordan.
Second.
We didn't put in stipulation because it didn't seem like the right word because move over, I don't know what I'm talking about. Except with amendment action, yeah, like it's not really a stipulation, you know what I'm saying? Like you could act like they could respond to something that we want them to do, but respond in, for example, like I always learn about the WIGS resolution where you asked for department status and they ended up giving us just the one time back number, you know? That wasn't a stipulation, it was like amended action. We weren't sure what word to use, but we feel like
So they took what you said and they just kept tweaking.
they gave a response in the direction of what we wanted, but not what we wanted.
Okay.
Sarah.
Stipulation was kind of like a condition where, like, I think that's how we saw it, where like, they'll give us this if we give them this. It's kind of like giving them that halfway there. Am I right on that?
Wait, what was that? I'm sorry. What was that?
The way I think I was there for the meeting, we turned down the word stipulation because it was kind of like a condition of sorts. Where
Yeah,
like,
it was conditional.
yeah, like where we give them this, or they give us
this and we give them that, you know.
Brookie?
Question for Joanne about the waste department stuff. How many years is that still in effect?
Oh, that happened spring 2013, and they said 3 to 5 years. So at least next year is when they can bring that back. That's when the program can bring up whatever 325. So I don't know. That means I guess any time between or out of it. But SA could always bring it up whenever.
James?
Motion to co-sponsor as a Senate.
Any seconds?
It has to be unanimous.
To co-sponsor, we can co-sponsor as a Senate or individually. So you vote on co-sponsoring.
Well, I guess we have to vote if we want to, if everyone is.
We just motion at the Senate, right?
Yeah, that's so that's
Voting
like
is-
vote now.
Everyone has to.
Everyone should, because this is.
Nick, wake up. Nick.
Yes.
You done?
Okay. So I'll just take off Fernando and Alex's name.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, just put.
Yeah, well, yeah, you take
Put
off.
co-sponsor 59 student senate.
Alright, so I'll take their names off.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, right.
Now someone can motion to passes.
Did we finish the discussion about with versus?
Motion to vote is co-sponsored.
Any second?
Second.
What do we second?
To pass it.
Yes, second.
Motion to pass.
Wait,
Second.
I have a question. Did we fix the bottom of it?
Yeah.
It says
Oh, okay.
accepted for amended action because, yeah, we're just gonna, yeah. So seconded. So all in favor of passing this because the motion's still on the floor and it's seconded.
It has to be unanimous. Majority.
No.
Alright.
All abstaining?
Am I the one doing it? I
Pass.
just like the word.
Yay! Cass Neal.
They were talking about.
Did Chris already open it? Or you open it? Okay, so last week, the CAS, Campus Executive Services, they control all food vending and services on campus. Once a year, we have our committee assignments, and the CAS Budget Committee met, and it was just me and Steve Deutsch. Not even kidding. We rolled out the new meal plans for the next academic year, 2015-2016. He was first. I made a PowerPoint last night to kind of sum it up as best as I could as soon as this stopped. The CAS the CAS budget consists of approximately, this is an exact number, consists of approximately 13 million, and he told me that 11 million of that is just in meal plans. Something like this is in.
Where is everything?
Oh.
Honestly, there's not enough songs.
You
actually thought about that?
The room just might have.
Yeah, no, I just counted, we had 13.
One more person in the bus.
Yeah, so no one else is.
Check.
Well, I'm still here. Oh, I didn't see you. Alright, we're sure. One person's left.
There's a lot of space.
Like it was like a dramatic thing. Like that's why I noticed. Like, oh,
I know.
I think usually there are 2 tables there, but that one is like on the end of the other one instead of like.
Yeah. I feel like this is long, but this is shorter.
Yeah, what?
Juan.
Mike, help.
It's just like so off.
I'm okay.
It's all wireless, so it all turns
You
on
need
the
to talk to me
wireless.
because right left, bitch.
That's not a nice word to use. It's not a nice
Done.
way to
Curving
address
you.
a woman.
Curving you.
No, I don't like that
Yeah.
word, Juan. I don't like that word.
Curving you.
That word makes me angry. That word makes me angry. Don't call me that word, Juan.
Curving you now. Turning this way.
Not a nice word, Juan.
Turning my way.
It's not a nice word.
Can we
Alright,
focus now?
so this is their proposal for the new meal plans for next year. This will be voted next week before the next Senate meeting, Wednesday at 10:30. So I wanted to kind of get as much student input as I possibly can, and I don't have a lot of time, so this is time sensitive. So without further ado, cost comparison. Your current meal plans cost this $1,838, and the proposed cost will go up by $92 at $1,930. And I asked them the justification for the increase, and he told me more money needs to be put into the system because of all the new outlets on campus. That's Starbucks, Ridgeview, Element 83, et cetera, et cetera. The 5% increase is matched with an increase in value. You'll kind of see the match in value when you see the meal plans itself. They kind of shift around flex dollars. When I say flex, I mean dime dollars. That's just their way of saying it.
So we got more? $9?
Yes and no. Depends. I'll show you. Meal plans are always remain uniform. Your cost of all meal plans are always the same. The reason for that is because it's easier to switch meal plans during the semester. Because if you want to switch to a more expensive or something that's less expensive, you have to get student accounts involved. So it's messy. So that's why they keep it the same. And yeah, this is just mention of all the new outlets on campus. They're very adamant about this number right here. The cost of meal plans, this is how it stacks up against all the other major SUNYs. Say if you ask them to provide more dime dollars or more swipes, more services, for example, their response is going to be, we're going to jack up the price of the meal itself. Steve was talking to me about like standard of living in like Ulster County in the region, so they're very adamant about keeping the price of the meal plan as low as possible. So that's how it stacks up with other students. And the first meal plan, everyone's familiar with the one freshman around, unlimited swipes called Carte Blanche. This is what it currently is. It's officially.
It is?
Yeah.
It is actually.
Carte Blanche.
I talked to Diane and she was saying that. I was like, what?
Yeah. It's essentially, but the unlimited has the swipes. Freshmen are required to be on this during their first semester. Currently, freshmen only get $50 dime dollars. The proposal is now they'll still get unlimited swipes, but now they will receive 200 flex dollars. Now, it's important to note, as I mentioned in the previous slide, note the 150 flex increase despite the 5% overall increase. That's important to keep in mind. You'll still be receiving 3 guest meals per semester. Freshmen will still be automatically put on this plan. The difference is currently freshmen after their first semester can opt out and switch to the 14. This proposal says they won't be able to do that. You'll kind of get it, I guess, maybe with the next meal plan. The 14 currently has $200 dime dollars, just like this one. So now that they have more dime dollars, they're saying that freshmen will have to stay on the Carte Blanche for their entire freshman year and be able to switch to
Can we
whatever.
quiet down for a second?
Yeah. They'll be able to switch to whatever they want in their sophomore year. Questions?
Yeah.
regardless of their credits?
Yeah. Where, like, currently you can switch based on credits. Freshmen will now have to stay on the Cardinal Bonds their entire first year.
Freshman or first?
Oh, yes.
Why? Kim has the floor.
First years have to stay.
Wait.
No. Not if you're a transfer, only freshmen.
Okay.
Would you rather Kim or Kimberly?
Kimberly. Wait, that doesn't make sense because I came in with credits, so I was able to switch my second semester. They wouldn't be able to, like, I was able to switch to the $500. I mean, the $2,000 plan. I
You
won't.
can do that currently, but they're not going to allow you to do that next with.
So,
these
like,
new
let's say
ones.
somebody comes in with, they went to, like, a high school like mine where you get college credits. They come in with 45 credits, and they have, like, 60 credits their second semester.
If
They still have
they're-
to stay on the first year plan?
If they're I guess I would have to ask them that, but I'm assuming if they're classified as a freshman,
Oh, no. Okay, never mind then. Because
yeah,
you don't, you're not
freshman
classified as
first year only credits.
If it's first year or freshman, there's a difference.
Yeah.
Freshman.
So freshman.
Like
First.
transfer students, like I'm a transfer student, I was put on the 5. I'm not required to be on this.
Okay. I have my hand up.
Yeah, I'll definitely clarify that.
Chris is next. Alex.
Okay, so you're gonna get clarification on whether it's first year or a freshman.
Yes.
Why did you think it was like you had to be on it as a freshman?
What?
Why did you think that you had to be on it as a freshman?
That was Steve's exact words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this whole PowerPoint is off based on what my conversation with him.
Okay.
This is like no students know about this yet.
Also,
Yes.
You made this?
Yeah. Oh wow.
Commitment.
He gave me a piece of paper.
Good job.
For you.
one more question.
Can we quiet down?
Athletes have the choice of being on the 5-swipe plan. Is that still going to be a thing?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I'll ask him.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
Zach.
So you can help me with this, because why is there being a 5% overall increase when we had an agreement that it wouldn't go up 1%, or was that just overall food prices on that meal plan cost?
What's for the meal plan cost? Actually, I'm not sure.
So that's my thing. I spoke to you about this before. Why are they going back on their word? We already had an agreement that it would only increase $1, and now it's going up 5%. Not increase a percent, not $1.
I can't.
I think it has to do with the fact.
I motion to recognize yourself.
You're talking. You're speaking.
Motion not gonna stop.
Second.
Yeah. Why are you seconding?
No,
No one's-
I second.
No. Like any seconds. Like
Second.
Go.
speak ties next. I'm not like taking out on you.
No,
but, like,
I understand.
ties next.
I have something to say. Sorry, I think that's really dumb. I don't know how this is, because it's like unclear, you said, but that's really dumb if freshmen, athletes can still change their meal plan and other freshmen can't, even if they're over their limits. And I also think that, I already went through this PowerPoint because I'm big on like food and campus, and I think that the freshmen should have the option, if you're taking suggestions up at now, should have the options for this one and the next slide, the new 12 slide.
I can. We didn't discuss this in detail. This is fairly quick meeting, but what he told me about that was, I guess it's in reference to budgeting, because they don't want freshmen there because they're in school for the first time. This isn't my words, by the way. This is what they force them to be on this plan, so it teaches them how to budget.
Yeah, but for their second semester, they should be allowed to at least go to the 12. Like, it's stupid that you tell them they have to be on this one. Like, there's no options. Like, they're old. They've been here for a semester already. They know how college works. They should at least be allowed to go to the next one step up.
Nicole.
Yeah, so the one that you're not, like, you wouldn't let them switch to, is that cheaper? Is that a cheaper option?
No, they're all the same price.
No, they're all exactly the same price. It doesn't financially, it doesn't really matter what you're on. It's really your own personal choice. Yeah, the flex. I'll go back into it. The increase in flex dollars offers the same flexibility as the 14 currently does. So that's the other reason why they don't. They told me they won't allow freshmen to switch. We had a detailed discussion about cost effectiveness. they feel that the carte blanche is the most bang for your buck. And you can, and this goes into details on like the economics of Hasbrook and why it costs less to operate it. It requires less workers. In the sub, for example, like you have packaging, right? So this right here, you don't have these in Hasbrook. You don't have plastic forks. It costs more for them to do all that and replenish it every single day. Whereas in Hasbrook, just put it right in a bowl in a tray. It's the same stuff. It's just presented differently, different. I guess it's yeah.
Zach?
Yeah, motion recognizes yourself.
Any second?
Okay, so what you were saying about the percentage increase, that was before there were more options available for the implant. And the reason why it's increasing like this now is because there's different options available. And,
I'm not sure if the people in the back can hear you.
No, you be whispering, Osado.
Shut up. Open your ears.
She don't hear you either, so it's just not me.
So what I said was the reason why the percentage increase is going up is because there are more options available for the implant now. So that's why like there needs to be more money to fund the different options that are out there. And going back to what Ty said about the choice to change your implant freshman year, I heard, who'd you hear that from?
I just know to be a fan.
Oh, okay, so apparently there needs to be at least individuals who are like using Hasbrook as a main guiding resource. That if like if we present the option of changing your implant freshman year, then like individuals won't, like for instance second semester, won't, like Hasbrook wouldn't be used mainly as much.
They need enough business to like keep it open and
Hasbrook open, yeah. Essentially, and like every single time you make a swipe to Hasbrook, it's like a certain fiscal amount that's like being taken from your ultimate implant. So that amount is going towards running Hasbrook. So if you have nobody swiping into Hasbrook, it's going to close.
So, Chris,
So that's
is
why the
next.
option's not available to them.
Okay, so now, I'm sorry, go ahead, finish, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's specific reasons to why athletes do have that option. You know, like I think it has to do with like their availability times in terms of like practicing and schedule. That doesn't allow them to go towards Hasbrook and have that option, and that's why they have the option to switch.
So, James,
Yeah.
you said the next one, the 14 swipes, has the same amount of flex dollars? Oh, it has more?
I'll get into it.
I'm gonna.
Yeah,
This
we should
isn't-
finish
this isn't-
this,
yeah,
finish
we're
the
gonna-
slides and everything.
Yeah. So everyone get the kind of this last part, economics. Good.
Zach, is this gonna go through this real quick, then save the questions for after the presentation?
That's James.
Platinum 12. So what you all know to be the current plan, the 14. You have 14 meals at Hasbrook. You have 200 flex dollars. The proposed change is 12 meals, 500 flex dollars. Cass did some research. They have not provided me the data or the numbers, but they did some research on preferences, and foot patterns. Like what I mean by that is like on average how many swipes what our students are using, how many swipes are students on the 14 using, how many swipes are students on the 5 using, and they ballparked it. Many students who are on the 14 weren't using all of them. Maybe students on the 5 need more, so they ballparked it around students are using on average 7 to 12 swipes in a week. So that is where 12 comes from. It's not a drastic change. They just took away 2 swipes and added more $9. A lot of students do say.
Can you write down?
A lot of students say that the 14 doesn't have enough $9. I would know because I'm on the 14 and I don't have any $9 left. So yeah. Their plan. They even admit that this plan still won't be any more popular. It's currently the least popular one. The most popular one is the 5 swipe, and now it's going to be a 7, the Platinum 7. currently get 7 meals has 1,070 flex dollars. The proposal is 900.
Oh no.
900
I'm hungry by the end of the semester. Chop.
flex dollars.
I'm gonna have 4 something right now. Chop this.
Could we quiet down and then let's finish this last third?
900 flex dollars, 7 meals, so 1 meal in Hasbrook a day. This is where it gets a little meal exchange. They're proposing to get rid of it. Get rid of
In
meal
general or
exchange.
just with this plan?
In general.
Can we
Let me explain. Now, meal exchange, for those of you who don't know, you can exchange a Hasbrook swipe for something in Parker or Jasmine's. Now, Jasmine's is going to be gone, and Parker Backstage Cafe is going to be a Starbucks. And I was arguing with him a little bit on this, and he gave me this scenario. So, say if I go to Starbucks, now it's important to note that your Hasbrook swipe has a specific value to it depending on the meal you buy. So, if you go to breakfast, your Hasbrook swipe it costs $6.99. For lunch, it's $8.99, and for dinner, it's $10. So if you go to Starbucks for breakfast, the new franchise Starbucks for breakfast, your Hasbrook swipes is gonna get you $6 for the stuff. What can you get at Starbucks for $6? Can you get a full meal? He says no. So his logic is, why waste a swipe on getting such little when you can go to Hasbrook and load up or get more food and more bang for your buck. And again, Jasmine's going to be gone, so that's his justification for getting rid of meal exchange. There's also other reasons why meal exchange existed was because people who live in College Shango, for example, if it's in the middle of a snowstorm, they have to go all the way over there. Now they're building Element 93, a place in Vandenberg. So, this last point, your thoughts on meal exchange in other places. So, after the presentation, your thoughts on meal exchange, I would encourage that.
Can we quiet down?
Now, this is the brand new meal plan, never been introduced on campus, called the Ultimate Flex. So it would be a 4th meal plan on top of the ones I just described. No Hasbrook swipes, just $9. And you get $1,939 in a semester. If you want to go to Hasbrook, you have to pay the equivalent of how much your swipe would cost. So yeah, in $9 essentially. So if you don't like Hasbrook, this is the one you often will go to. They estimate this will be by far the most popular.
No kidding.
They claim it will be. It's the least cost effective, but you have the most freedom of choice with this meal plan. Yeah.
Okay. Nick, Zach.
So, first things first. I'm just gonna go ahead and say I hate this idea because for one,
Which idea?
the whole changing the meal
What?
plan.
Oh
Well,
my
like
God.
this
Alright.
plan-
Let me speak. Please.
Let me explain why. For you named the Senator Jordan. Well, for this plan, it's like, for example, food is still gonna be the same price, correct? We're still gonna eat. People still gonna eat. So when your plan runs down, you get low. Now you gotta come out of your own pocket. You can't go to Hasbrook anymore. So that's one, and that's happened to a lot of students on this campus. They run low. Two, with the other meal plan with the Hasbrook swipes, and then what you get, $500
With the
the
7?
the 12.
You get 500 again.
Yeah, 12 you get $500. Your meal plan, that $500 gonna go fast, and then you're gonna be in the same thing that you was with the 14 meal plan swipe, and you're gonna be trying to ration out your swipes for the week. And you still can't eat one day. It's still gonna be one day you're gonna be starving. So that's one day. And then what was the other one? The freshman, and then unlimited, and then what is it? 200.
Yeah, unlimited is 200, and then the 7 is 900.
Meal exchange.
With the switch, with the not being able to switch, is that for everybody? Like including like I know like athletes they could do freshmen.
Just freshmen?
It's just okay. So yeah, that's a mouthful. But this is not for it. So you do whole campus. James has like three more slides left, so he's gonna finish it. Then we're gonna take questions afterwards.
Okay. Does everyone get Ultimate Flex?
Is there guest swipes in that?
I think yes.
You don't have average focus.
For any of them, there was no consistency.
How can you go to Hasbro?
Alright, could you, James,
When you have like a
finish,
set number of swipes, you can
finish
swipe.
your presentation first, then we ask questions afterwards.
So this is the last one. The commuter meal
Oh,
plan
unlimited?
is essentially remaining the same thing. The difference is like for when you for when a commuters buy a meal plan, you get a $10 bonus because they're gonna send the hearts or something. The difference is now faculty can buy the commuter meal plan, with the exception of they will be taxed at every transaction because they're not students. I personally am not a fan of this. I think commuters should get a better meal plan, and that's it. So hammer away.
1 second. I'm gonna let James explain what exactly we're trying to establish here tonight and get done, and you can say what.
So I want your basic thought, your overall view of this proposal, your thoughts on meal exchange, the community meal plan, and more specifically, and Nick is already hammering away on it. If you think there's not enough dining dollars, the first thing, if I tell Steve that, the first thing he's going to say is, well, then I have to raise the cost of your meal plan. Would you be in favor of having more dining dollars but pay more for the meal plan in your financial aid?
Alright,
You should also take that into
so, Zach.
Okay.
It's now 8:17. Let's go to 8:35. Then we add time accordingly.
Cool. So, you told me about this earlier. I looked at the PowerPoint. I've had time to mull this over. I don't know. I think honestly the best plan for us is the unlimited. I think the vast majority of us would be using that.
Meaning the carte blanche or
Unlimited flex, sorry. Unlimited flex, not the unlimited hazard. Sorry.
You're allergic to like everything.
Shut up. I'm trying to move off campus. So here's my thing. I'll talk to you afterwards. So I think the unlimited flex is the best idea. The least cost effective, can you go back to that slide actually? Just so I can see what's up.
Which one?
Unlimited flex. Yeah. The least cost effective plan, I think that's just from a perspective of CAS and Sodexo, because this is how I see it. I think it's the most cost effective for us because we get better quality food, we get a better portion, I guess you want to argue. And the aspect of it's going to cost more because of packaging and labor, yeah, that costs on them. Maybe they'll transfer a little towards us, but the big cost goes to them. That's not entirely put upon us. I can see how the unlimited Hasbrook is the most cost effective because you could sit there for 5 hours and just eat. But people are there for an hour and they're like, why am I still here? So, no, it's not the most cost effective. You're not sitting there forever eating. You die. So that's my thing. The idea with the 12 and the 7, I mean, I see how they're good intermediaries, but at the same time, we run into the lack of dining dollars. The 500 is going to go within like 2 months, and the 900 people are going to be struggling. And then, like Nick said, I agree with Nick. On the 7 meal plan, you're going to be trying to the 12 meal plan. You're basically going to have to be spacing out your meals and maybe eating twice a day, and still going to have to buy.
They do recognize that. They recognize that there's a possibility there that a lot of students might blow through their money quickly. So it's kind of
7 too. People are going to blow through the money. You're guaranteeing 1 meal a day, and you're going to have to ration out $900 throughout the semester on 2 meals a day. Not mentioning how much more difficult it is on the weekends.
So would you follow up to as a proposal? Would you be willing to pay more money in your meal plan? I
don't want to. Here's my response to that. I'm not willing to pay more money for the quality of food that I'm getting. That's my thing. Unless they've got to better the food, better our options, I'm not willing to pay for this garbage food.
Ty. Alright, Ty's next.
I see the frustration in this, but I think James is trying to like bring carry back probably improvements that we can make on the meal plan. Ty.
Just real quick, I agree 100% with Zach. I would be for increasing, like spending more money if the food was better in general. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I want to talk about Asada's point saying that they said that the freshmen can't switch swipes because they need a base of people going to Hasbrook. I don't understand what the big deal is. They already switch swipes now. They're allowed to go to the 12, the second semester, the 14 now, the second semester. If they're allowed to switch to 12, it's 2 less swipes a week. I don't think that's a huge exodus from Hasbrook.
It's because
there's no, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, stupid. I think that really should be brought up, that they should at least be able to do the 12. I actually really I'm pretty much in favor for all these meal plans. I think this is living on campus, I feel like this is more like how people live. I do think there is going to be some struggling, and I agree he's right about the point that if you're at the unlimited flex, you have to budget that, but that's when you pick your meal plan. No one's forcing you. When you pick your meal plan, you should know I'm going to have to budget this. Like, one day we're going to all be real people and have to budget it one day. So it should be, we have to get babied now that, oh well, they might not be able to do this because they're going to spend their money. That's your own fault. Nobody's making you buy anything.
That was Steve Deutsch's view as well.
So that's what I would say.
Nicole is next.
Okay, so you're saying that freshmen can't switch the next one because then Hasbrook would have like no business. But you're saying this is going to be the most popular one, which would give Hasbrook no business.
But they have the freshmen who have the unlimited.
What majority, the significant majority of students who are not freshmen are on this plan. So it's not gonna be freshmen. It's gonna kind of split which students are on the 7 and which students are on the ultimate flex. And it's gonna more like 5, not.
All right. Manny.
Alright, in terms of name change, there's no other alternatives. For example, you can't use name change for class that opening up?
I guess theoretically you could, and that's what I think. I mean,
One spot that I can have name change, something in the whole thing, like that's just crazy.
That's what I think.
Because there's so many new outlets opening up, why can't one of those outlets have some sort of special program?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just want to bring up to that,
For the record, Steve also indicated to me Cass's concern about the overcrowding in Hasbrook. He mentioned years on the line, possibility of construction in Hasbrook to create more space, but he did mention that as a concern of Cass's, especially on during brunch on weekends. It gets way too crowded, and it's extremely difficult for Sodexo to accommodate that many students. So that is a very good point.
Yeah. For some reason, now I love campus now, so I'm both things.
So you put it down?
I really somewhat like this plan. I feel a lot. I just think that it gives us a lot more freedom in terms of our money. You know, like at the end of the day, you're not forced to have 5 spots to use. Like sometimes I know, like when I was on campus, living in Baldwin or whatever, like I didn't really go to Hasbrook and my swipes just went to waste. So instead of having, maybe one day I'll go to Hasbrook, I'll pay some $9, $6 for breakfast, whatever, but I'll get it once in a while. But because there's so many new outlets opening up as well, they're gonna have a sub, they're gonna have Worcester, they're gonna have a new spot in the residence hall. Is it called that?
No, 93.
No, I was 93.
Yeah, I'm talking about Worcester, yeah.
You're gonna have, and then Vandenberg's also having, so you have so many. I'd rather have the rest of the team outlets than having swipes. 5 addresses I've never used. Seven swipes, I don't feel about that. You get 2 more swipes, but then they just get $2,500. So the wire. That one seems like a little shaky.
Move the wire.
Yeah, the wire.
The wire.
Pretty much all that. Other than that, like, the Platinum 12 one, that's just a 40-meal one. They do get more. I like that. $300 more, yeah, 2 less meals, but it has been still get $300. So I think that's a pretty good plan. Better than we got more plans than we had last 2 years ago. 2 years ago we had like 3 plans. Like, we have way more options now, so I think that's
Alex is next.
Yeah, I actually really like all plans except for the Platinum 7. I kind of prefer the plan that's currently in place with the 5. You almost did it.
Yeah.
I'm personally on the 5 swipe, and I would not want to have to go to HAS every day. Like, it's a big transition from having to go to HAS every day versus the next plan, which is you never go there. Like, the 5 swipes is good because, like, sometimes you can go for, like, dinner or whatever, and then you get brunch on the weekends, but it's not like you're committed to go there, like, all the time. I think that the 5 was just a better number, and, like, 900 seems such, like, a significant difference from, like, 1,000. You know what I mean? It's just personal preference. I prefer the old one. Just for that one, though. I like it.
It's on the list. It's Nick, Adriana, Fernando, Kelsey, Sarah, Bruce.
You chopped my name. I had
Kim.
Wilbur.
And Zach.
That name is way not supposed to be down there, bro.
Nick is up.
Okay,
Chopped my shit.
so my whole thing is, like, it look like it sounds good on paper, but the whole thing is, like, prices for food is not gonna go down, it can only go up, correct? Correct?
We're gonna keep it stagnant.
No, price of
I
food always
can't.
goes up
Yeah,
every year,
prices
no
for
matter
food go
how
up.
bad you try to like go against it, it always goes up. No matter. So I don't know why you're fighting this. That's one. 2, how come they just couldn't, because they're gonna charge us more for meal plans anyway, correct? Why couldn't they just keep the regular meal plans and just add more $9? Wouldn't that made it more simpler than the whole? Yeah, alright, but you paid that, right? They're not just, the thing is that we gotta eat, like, we're paying for what are we paying for? So, the system have to eat.
Let me decipher your point out of everything you just said. Are you saying that you think students would pay more in the meal plan for more $9 to make it more sustainable?
Yeah, like, to balance it out, 'cause you're not, nobody wants to, let's say you have 1930, right? And no HAS swipes whatsoever. So let's say prices for other vendors go up, right? And they're expensive, you still gotta buy food, breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? So let's say by, give or take, March, beginning of April, now you're running low. Now you gotta come out your own pockets. And let's say you do decide you wanna go to Hasbro on weekend for breakfast, lunch, or something like that. Then you gotta pay more money for Hasbro for bad quality food, right? So I'm with Zach on this. If we're gonna pay more and get crappy meal plans, we rather have like good food and quality workers that's gonna be there.
Adriana.
Yeah, I'm here for better quality and locally sourced, preferably. I mean, I would go to Hasbrook more if it wasn't food that I literally had to adjust to every time, like, every semester that I came back. The new box. No, like Hasbrook makes me, like, sick when I don't eat it for a while. Like, I get bloated. I'm so miserable when I eat Hasbrook, and I haven't eaten it in, like, a few months. It's horrible. So maybe food that doesn't have whatever the hell Sodexo has for their, like, step above, like, whatever Sodexo gives to the jails, whatever the slight step above that they get to us. Like, let's get whatever Sodexo has a little bit above that, where I don't feel sick every time I eat, and I'm, like, spending all my money on food in town.
Orientation.
Alright,
orientation, where they convince us to come here.
College tour.
Alright.
No, true.
We have
Also, Hasbrook is so ugly.
we have
I would go there more if it wasn't so ugly.
we have 5 minutes left in this discussion.
There's so much.
Can I respond to
Yeah.
the three of you? So if when I cast this when Saul and I mentioned this, I'm gonna go on a limb and say the first thing they're gonna tell me is, would you be willing to pay more in total cost of the meal plan for everything you just said?
Yes, better
Yes.
quality food, yes.
How about, is
By
there
how
any way
much?
we can pay that price without any change in how the meal plans work, but better quality food?
So you're saying you want the price to be the same, right
That,
here,
I want the price to be that.
better quality
Better
food.
food, yeah.
Other places food is good. Just don't.
Instead of like more
So
options,
when is
same
there
quality.
more options to not make the food better?
What do you mean by more options?
Well, yeah, you want you want different ways to eat Sodexo, but it's still be the same. Oh, I
You want
eat
different
Starbucks
spices
this
on
many
your
days a
crack.
week, and then I can divide it this way. Because at the end of the day, it's like slightly the same, just like a little bit more of garbage. So like, it doesn't
Different
fill
color
me.
garbage.
It's we're paying more so we can add some like donate to it.
Let's divide the garbage differently. Like it just doesn't do anything. And we've been, and when Amy Prince was on set, wasn't she? I mean, didn't Katz put out a survey asking if people would pay for locally sourced food or better quality food and pay more for that? And they didn't ask anything about meal plan options because they're not that bad. The 14 swipes a week is really stupid, I think. And I don't think it doesn't make any sense. They should probably just get rid of. They should just chop it completely, to be honest. But. Can we go back to that data? Because I'm pretty sure, I responded to that survey, I remember that survey, and I'm sure a lot of people did. So maybe back up
It
with
is,
that.
I don't have an answer, but I remember they have been doing surveys, so it's possible they might dish out like this data next week, I don't know. Like they're gonna have a full presentation on this. This is, again, all this information is just one conversation between me and Steve. I try to extract as much as possible, so we're gonna find out more. We're gonna vote the same day we find out more.
I'm mad at you, by the way. I'm just saying.
I know. But it's okay. Unleash your
Alright, can we quiet down? Fernando's on the floor.
Second.
Any second?
Second.
Alright, so, aside from the $100 increase, I generally think that this is moving in the right direction. I think, like, when talking about this issue, I think it's more critical than on other issues to get student input and feedback when having these conversations, because this is what they're eating on campus. So, like, being in communication with students on this issue directly is really important. I generally think that the more options for meal plans is a good thing, and that's why I think this is largely moving in the right direction. The one thing that I think, based on who I've talked to and what I know from students, is that, you know, keeping the cost as low as possible, I think, is necessary. And I don't think, regardless of what you're getting out of Sodexo, I don't think the vast majority of students would want to be paying more for the food here. So I think that for us, raising the cost of the meal plan should be off the table. That's what I think.
I second that.
To respond to Jesse, I'm gonna be making this presentation at council next week. Maybe alright to say, or?
That's one.
Yeah.
Say liaison.
Well, no, I'm saying you do it. Yeah, or to say. I mean, it's an idea, you don't have to do it, but, yeah, so I'm gonna be talking at council about this. And I guess the point of this presentation is for you to consider, would students want to pay more in the total cost meal plan for more dining dollars, more this, more that? Because they're gonna do that if you want X, Y, Z. I guess that's the point that they're trying to make to me and what I'm trying to make to me.
Alright, I'm just trying to just understand this. So, these meal plans are not in effect yet.
No, we're voting to put them into effect next week.
Who has like the voting power?
The task board. The students, the student Miyasato, Annie, Christina, and then the 2 faculty representatives, and then the administration.
Alright.
So
Kelsey.
I think
Okay. So since James just keeps asking the question, why don't we just give him a good temperature check? Like, overall, do you like this? Overall, do you not like this? If there's some changes you think maybe medium, and then you can talk to him about it or something.
Okay.
So.
So middle for change, up for yes, down for no.
Yeah.
I'm Obama. Change.
Change is always a good thing.
That's an interesting one. Wave is like I like it, but not.
I want some changes, but I'm not sure what changes.
Very confused wave.
Alright. Sarah, what? Are you finished? Sarah?
Well, I think it's interesting that they want to keep the freshmen on the unlimited swipe plan because they're worried about Hasbrook closing without the freshman traffic. So I think I agree with Adriana.
That's not totally, you're partially involved, but what he told me, again, going on the information that I was given, is the concern for freshmen is how they budget.
Right,
So you don't
I
have
understand
to,
that concern.
yeah,
But
that's
just-
the reason for doing that.
Right, but also, like, if it's a concern that Hasbrook's not going to get enough, like, swipe traffic to sustain it, that calls into question the quality, like, why are we preserving that if nobody's there? Are they looking into that too?
I'll try to.
That's basically the point I was trying to make also.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a reason why people don't go to Hasbrook.
Yeah, and I think that should be addressed.
It's
I mean, if they're going to be adjusting
Alright, so, can we quiet down?
There are 14 weeks in each semester. 1930 is way too much for not being enough to feed you for 14 weeks. But assuming it's not, it's dumb to increase it because you can always get on the commuter plan or pay out of pocket for the couple days left. Because Setexa would want it to increase because they're not losing anything. You're just increasing your meal plan for more money, but they're making most of that profit anyways. So why can't we just keep it at 1930? Assuming someone doesn't have enough at the end of the semester, you can always just pay in $100 into the system and get.
Yeah, you can do that already. You can,
Yeah,
if you run out, like, you can put your own money on it.
So we shouldn't want that whole increase anyways.
We chose yeah, there's a deadline to when you can switch though. So it's not like you can switch at any point in the semester back to the commuter plan.
Well, if you run out, you can go to the commuter plan.
Yeah,
because it's extra $100.
Second of all, why can't the whole meal exchange thing still go on? Let's say you want to grab lunch from Starbucks, lunch is $8 as a Hasbrook swipe, and then you can pay the difference if it's not enough. Like, why did they just cancel the whole thing?
I raised that question as well. I'll look into that more.
Yeah, and finally, what this doesn't tell you is almost all of these schools up there, given a non-freshman an option if he wants to stay on campus and opt out of having to pay for Sedex or getting his own food, like Albany, for example, does that. Why can't New Paltz do it?
What?
I want to live on campus as a junior, but I don't want to pay for Sedex. I want to buy my own food. Why can't I have that
We
option?
shouldn't be mandated to live on campus and pay for a meal plan. That's the biggest point.
For people
we
who
don't
can't
have
even eat the
kitchens,
food because
though.
of like
We, like,
allergies.
I think it's also
All of the allergies.
I'm
dying.
Kimberly, you have the floor.
Me? Wow. But one thing is the unlimited, the last one, the like balling out money. The flex is cool, but nothing's open on Sunday. What do you?
But you can
What do you?
Go to Hasbrook.
You can still go to Hasbrook. You pay the equivalent. Like, so for brunch, you'll pay like $7 or $8.
Brunch is not an option. It says breakfast, lunch.
Should we?
Okay, seriously. Like, but being realistic, like, if you wake up, nah, you're gonna go hungry. You are, because Hasbrook, not only that, but the days that it's snowing and stuff, and Hasbrook's the only thing open. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of times where the sub is not necessarily all that reliable, and the sub closes really early. It doesn't. I feel like they should have at least 2 swipes. Give them, so like, don't let the brother starve. Like,
Sundays.
Sunday there's nothing to eat. Like,
Sunday's
Zach?
garbage day at Hasbrook. It's like
Great.
extra garbage.
Okay.
can you open something in the sub on Sundays? Are we gonna do this?
Zach has the floor.
So I got three quick points. So Ty wanted to know if we know what type of system is going to be in the new hall, like the new dining hall. Is it going to be swipes? Is it going to be?
You mean Ridgeview?
Yeah, like there's going to be a dining hall there, right?
Yeah.
No, it's Ridgeview Cafe. I don't.
Yes, it's gonna be a part of the residence hall building.
No, but it's not gonna be a dining hall.
It's not gonna be like Hasbrook, like can I swipe in to get a buffet style? It's not buffet style.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Dining hall?
And the food services are gonna be boosted.
Okay, so we don't know.
The way they describe it, the way they describe it, she described it.
I'll clarify that.
Okay, second, with the whole unlimited thing being like their best plan and that we have to make freshmen go there, otherwise we're losing money. Let's teach the decks a little economics. Let's go to class, because we're in school. So less business at Hasbro is gonna mean better business at the other locations, at the Sub, at Booster, at Element 39, whatever. Whatever it is.
Sounds so toxic.
I don't care. That means more money is going to be flowing there, and less people are going to be going to Hasbro. The laws of competition say if you're doing bad, you're going to have to compete, and you're going to have better quality food, and you're going to have to prepare yourself better. So if you want people to go to Hasbro, improve yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to like lose all that business. So if Sodexo wants more people to go to Hasbro, step up your game and learn how economics works. So I'm just gonna
Go.
Nicole.
I got pushed by the econ major.
Chris.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I second that.
Is the food so much better?
Chris has the floor. Could you focus, please?
Okay, so why is the food so much better during orientation? Like everybody knows that. Like even from my RA training, I realized that students were coming back once the food started tasting like shit. It was just like, it was so good during the beginning of RA training, it was awesome. And then like, for orientation, it's awesome as well. Like every student realizes the difference between the regular school year and orientation. Like why is the focus going down? I don't know what it is, but like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't think Hasbrook was that bad when I came for orientation or when I'm here for RA training, but like, it just goes downhill like once the students start coming back, and I just like
they start spitting in the
like what you know what I mean, like are they rushing now or something, you know what I mean, like it just like sucks my head like
Can we quiet down?
You know, students are aware, we're not stupid.
I mean, that's part of Robin.
Adriana.
Okay, so we're SUNY, so at least some of us are still, some of the school is still subsidized by the government.
So.
Dwindling, but it's still there. So like, that's like what, 30%? Is that only for tuition, or does that count for room and board too? Does anyone know that? Can someone recognize Mike? Mike, just answer a real
the state supported stuff comes back from college to support the academic intention of the institution. So it's only the academic side of the house.
So it's only my tuition.
Administrative stuff, tuition.
Not room and board.
Yeah, it does not support room and board. Those are all fee-based programs. And those fee-based programs are all paid individually. The college maintains those dollars, allocates those.
All right, so there's no way.
Yeah.
Let me try some money from GP and put it towards food.
Alright,
SA starts funding food.
We do anyways, we really do fund so much food. Like when I run $100, I would like rely on programs and stuff. Like pizza, Asian fusion, buddies. I go to all your programs.
Alright, this discussion is going on longer than anticipated.
I got a lot of information. I'm going to council too, so you should come then.
We digress. Business ties. This is ties resolution.
Fernando will go more into this when he gets back.
From what? Where is he?
I don't know where he is.
George, where is he?
I don't know where he is, that's good.
You just say pooping?
Amazing.
I'll go find out.
Is he going to the salon?
I gotta go too. Sorry. Well, hold hands.
Shit, it always closed.
Like I've never been so
Basically,
Oh wait, yeah, you are.
She gets very upset if you say that. She was
What's up, everyone? So, earlier today I read this article. There's a program called Startup New York, which provides tax-free zones to businesses in New York, usually around college campuses, SUNY campuses. It provides tax-free zones for up to 10 years. And Cuomo, in his budget, which is coming up, what's coming up, April 1st or March 31st?
April 1.
April 1st, has proposed some conditions that tie SUNY schools funding with this budget. So I wrote a little piece of legislation today. Do you guys want me to read it or have any questions?
If you can make it a little bit bigger so we can read along with you.
Yeah, I could do that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so, whereas under the SUNY Startup New York program, New York Governor Andrew M. Cuomo has proposed to condition funding for public state colleges upon the degree to which they promote the development of business within their respective tax-free zones. And whereas one of Governor Cuomo's budget points calls for the schools to outline financial incentives for campus presidents who provide proven leadership resulting in commercialization of research through the Startup New York program. And whereas the president is among the highest paid positions of a university and should not be incentivized to put the interests of business over the needs of students. And whereas SUNY and CUNY schools are currently facing budget cuts that negatively affect students and faculty. Whereas the state of New York should increase funding to SUNY and CUNY schools instead of incentivizing corporations that do not directly fund the SUNY and CUNY systems. Therefore, the 59 Student Senate issues a declaration. Be it declared, nice and loud, that the 59 Student Senate does not support the use of state funds as an incentive to the campus presidents who are already paid highly. Be it declared that the 59 Student Senate believes that SUNY and CUNY are public institutions of education and should not be used as institutions to attract corporate revenue. Be it declared that the 59 Student Senate believes that SUNY and CUNY schools should be funded in its entirety to further promote educational growth. And be it declared that the 59 Student Senate strongly condemns New York Governor Andrew M. Cuomo's proposal to tie SUNY and CUNY funding based on how they attract businesses to tax-free zones. Any questions?
I appreciate it.
Gracias. All right, now, here's the question. Where's my chair?
Manny.
So if this passed, this is the first legislation that goes after the legislation that passed about.
Can you talk us?
Okay, yeah, so we would like to get this passed to present it to SUNY Assembly. I don't know what SUNY Assembly's position is on Startup New York.
No, what I was going to ask is, because of the legislation that was just passed about mission response, are you going to want to bring this to?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm also going to be meeting with,
We have to reword it. I don't think we should, I think this is not an administration thing. I think we, we could.
It mentioned president.
Yeah.
It mentioned how SUNY presidents are.
We can talk about it with them. I don't think we should.
Can we focus?
I'm also going to be planning a meeting with Rich.
We're talking about.
Alright.
Well, we're planning on getting it passed to SUNY Assembly in ties with the one that we passed last week, which we're going to pass again.
No, I'm saying, but like, it's not really specified SUNY Assembly in this. You think you might want to like, hey, declare it SUNY Assembly.
It's kind of declaration just saying where we stand against this. So just basically saying our stance that, you know, if everyone agrees to sponsor this, you know, it would say that this assembly, this SUNY association does not want the startup program to be tied in with, you know, our schools.
You'll pass this tonight that we're not going to be able to go to SUNY Assembly.
Yes, I know.
I don't hear what they're saying.
But I'm also going to be meeting with Rich Winters, who's the campus government coordinator, so we'll talk more about this.
I'm so sorry to be rude, but do you mind projecting your voices?
Yes.
Well, can you read, like, can you give a gist of what you said? Because it's like a intimate
What do I plan on
conversation.
doing with this? If we plan to giving it to pass it up in the administration, And basically the plan is to state where we stand against this, against time conditions of funding with startup programs or incentivized businesses, to bring it to SUNY Assembly, and anything that we want to bring to SUNY Assembly has to be passed before Friday. So please ask me any and all questions that you have about this.
Any questions?
Someone recognize Mike.
Zach?
Mike.
Any seconds?
Second. So I heard a little bit about this earlier today. So I talked to Rich Winters already just to get some more information about this. He's our campus government relations coordinator. My only concern is that very first clause. My understanding based on my conversation with Rich is that yes, there is some performance-related things that's tied to funding to the institutions. Startup New York may or may not be an element of that process. It's not clear because the rules have not been given to the campuses to submit for this, which is due in December. So I just don't know how accurate that first statement is when there's no instructions for campuses. My interpretation from Rich is that it may be an element to demonstrate, but may not be a requirement. So I'm not sure. I would tweak that first statement based on my conversation with Rich. I just don't know how fully accurate it is.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Trying to get the article up. In response to what Mike just said, there is a clause in his proposal that ties 10% of SUNY funding with sending in, what was it called again? Like
It's a performance something.
It's basically an evaluation of performance of the schools that gets sent in.
A performance.
So basically, if you submit it, you get the 10% of funding. If you don't submit it, there's a chance that you don't get it, or even if you send it in. That's not in here, I took it out because there's a little bit of controversy on that. However, this first, what's called clause right here, there are conditions that relate to SUNY funding. There are conditions. One of them is financial incentives to the president. Our president makes $229,000. He gets a car and his own home. No shouts to the president. Don't kick me out of the school. He gets $229,000 a year.
That ship is sailed.
There are some, and this is just not against Donnie Cia. This is not against Donnie Cia. This is against, like, all the SUNY schools have presidents who get paid a lot. Some SUNY presidents get paid up to $400,000 a year.
Yo.
Yeah, our president of the United States makes that much.
What do you have to make?
Basically, you have to have a doctorate, according to studies in sonography. The citations are in here. The information of where I got this stuff from is in here. There's facts that back this stuff up. I wouldn't just bring something up here if I wasn't 100% sure that it was backed up. I'm graduating, so it doesn't matter if I wouldn't do this if I wasn't graduating. It's not going to affect me anymore. It's going to affect 100 sophomores in here. You guys are gonna be the ones paying. You guys are gonna be the ones paying the tuition, and you guys are gonna be the ones, feeling the hurt. Your parents. My dad's on Social Security. He has a fixed income. If corporations aren't paying their fair share of taxes, who's paying for that? The middle class, lower class, middle class, all the classes, like that don't pay taxes.
Freshman class, senior class.
Freshman class, senior class, whatever. Shit, like we're graduating soon. How much in taxes do I gotta pay when it comes to my loans?
Zach.
Yeah, going off Fernando, with the whole Startup New York thing, that whole new engineering building? Half of that's not even for us. Half of that's for a Startup New York program. And guess what? They're not paying any property tax. They're not paying any village tax.
It's not startup.
Yeah, it's not startup.
It's not a startup? Who is it?
No. It's a public-private partnership with
everybody? Why don't they do startup?
That's all.
That's not a startup program.
Why? I'm a bitter girl.
Can we just start that up?
Public-private partnership still sounds kind of the same as that. But it's not a tax.
In the college, receives $10 grant from the city.
I'm good.
Adriana.
It's not a startup.
So basically, what Como wants is for SUNY Falls in our best effort to bring in business to
SUNY schools, not just new schools.
Okay.
This is SUNY schools.
But specifically, just thinking about us. So
Yeah, thinking about
it's our responsibility. It's the institution's responsibility to bring in more business and show that we brought in more business or tried to bring in more business to justify the tax-free program that Cuomo created that I don't think any of us actually wanted. Like, is that what I'm getting? Because otherwise we lose our funding. Like, we're a school, but I don't see how our responsibility is, oh, if you don't create more business, so your tax-free zone can exist, like, you get your funding taken away. I just don't see where the justification for that is, besides like obviously.
Basically, it's not really about having your funding taken away. It's about what's called increasing incentives to businesses which don't pay taxes, which in return, who's paying the taxes? Where's the money coming out of? It's coming out of tuition, it's coming out of taxpayers. It's coming out of our pockets, our parents' pockets, you know, your grandmother's pockets.
But then, I read the article that you posted, so are we not talking about the 10%
No.
anymore?
No, because that hang on, let me read the clause right here. I mean, I got the article. Basically, it says COMES proposed withholding 10% of aid for SUNY and CUNY schools if they do not submit performance improvement plans. Basically, that's just like what do we plan on doing when, you know, to improve graduation, to improve enrollment.
All right. That's okay.
Yeah, every school already kind of has to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Scroll down.
I guess. Wait, what are the resolutions then?
The declaration thing?
We condemn this?
So basically, I'll read them again. So, the 59th Student Senate does not support the use of state funds as an incentive to campus presidents who already get paid highly. Do we want our money going, more of our money going to President Donald Christian when we have faculty and adjuncts that are getting paid crap, you know? The student, be it declared, the 59th Student Senate believes that SUNY and CUNY are public institutions of education, not be used as institutions to attract corporate revenue. I mean, I firmly believe that we should just be here to learn, not to be, you know,
Learn
what
by
it says.
Pepsi,
Yeah.
Burger King,
Come here, we
Stop
have a
Shop
bunch
Boys.
of, you know,
We got Starbucks on campus.
Be declared, isn't that? Because the 59th Student Senate believes that SUNY and CUNY schools should be funded in its entirety to further promote educational growth, just like the legislation we passed last week. It's something that we should believe in. They have the money. If they're giving these corporations tax-free zones, tax benefits, tax credits, they have the money to give us, to provide for us, in my opinion. And a bunch of other opinions and facts. But anyway, 59th Student Senate strongly condemns New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's proposal to tie SUNY and CUNY funding based on.
Are we tax-free zone yet?
Yes.
We are.
Okay.
Alright, Nicole is next.
What?
Correct me if I'm getting your name wrong. Boutros?
Yeah. So I'm kind of lost. Are we against the whole tax-free zones? Or are we against SUNY promoting tax-free zones? Or are we against getting our funds cut if we don't promote tax-free zones?
Well, the legislation last week was being against getting our funding cut and what's called, were you here last week?
I was not.
Okay. Someone had the legislation from last week? Yeah, we're going to talk about the legislation we passed last week, which basically says we're against funding cuts, and we would advocate to have SUNY funded in its entirety. That's legislation we passed last week. This legislation condemns basically having tax-free zones and tying it with our SUNY system.
So we are condemning tax-free zones?
Tying in with the SUNY system, yes.
Okay. Okay.
We don't want conditions.
With it being related.
Basically startup New York, yeah.
As like we're being an incentive or shiny.
It's confusing,
Zach.
so they make it this way.
Cool. For the second to last, be it declared. It says be it declared that the 59th Student Senate believes that SUNY and CUNY schools should be funded in its entirety by
To further
who?
promote education.
By who? Who should be funding it in its entirety?
The state.
Should we put that in there? Because it's an ambiguous reference. There's no subject. That's my only comment.
Kelsey.
Yeah, I just want to say that, like, Viewpulse, like, kind of the beauty of Viewpulse is having, like, a bunch of local businesses and everything. And I know there's, like, a line of where, like, the more corporate businesses can come, like, and that's why you see, like, Stop and Shop and McDonald's and all of them up there. So just keep that in mind when thinking about these movements, because, I mean, I personally like Viewpulse for that reason, the fact that it's a local business, it's not like a random Walmart in the middle of the place.
Nicole.
Listen
Starbucks still
Can we listen to Nicole? There you go.
Motion to co-sponsor this declaration.
Any second
Second.
objection?
Wait,
Object, yeah.
because
Grounds?
Does anybody else, I would like to know, I want to make sure everyone has this good. If anybody has a question, I want to make sure that I answer them to the best of their ability.
okay, and I object because I want to make sure my clause got in there.
It is, it's just trying to connect, so once again.
Okay,
that's all
so
I
with my
have.
clause in there, okay, I retract my objection.
We vote on co-sponsoring. That's correct, right?
Yeah, unanimous.
Unanimous.
Someone's calling you outside tech.
And we're voting now on co-sponsoring unanimously.
Damn it.
Come on.
Yep, it is, do it, man.
Yeah, you're not voting. Butcher?
Wait, give me a high five. Okay, interesting.
I trust
Someone like motion like individually.
Motion to sponsor, co-sponsor.
I was abstaining too, but.
No, if we want to do it as a Senate, it has to be unanimous.
I appreciate that, because they don't know what
So we could co-sponsor individually and it's up to you.
Johnson, no vote? Like a non-existent vote?
Yeah. It's a no vote because it's not unanimous. Ty, you didn't vote, right?
No, I'm abstaining.
Abstaining and Boutros didn't.
You can just write all over names.
So now you got
Fernando,
Motion to co-sponsor individual.
Second.
any objections? Motion to vote individually. We're voting now.
Motion to vote individually?
Just sponsor individually?
Just sponsor.
Sponsor individually.
Co-sponsor. Co-sponsor. Yeah. But
Just go around the room. Just go around the room. Go around the room and ask if they want to co-sponsor.
Yes. We're just putting our hands up.
Could you vote by putting your hands up?
What about the people who don't want to co-sponsor it, just raise your hand because it's lesser?
It's just them two, like, it's not
Why don't
hard.
we just raise? No, I don't want to either. I was just gonna do it because it was unanimous. But individual, I don't want to do it either. If it's individual.
Alright, who's not voting? Who's abstaining? Abstaining.
Who doesn't want their name?
Don't want you. So you're gonna wait. Could you keep your hands up?
No, wow.
You're yelling at them, you're just like, oh.
Yeah, you know, like, why even have
I don't want it to be possible political.
That's what I said last week.
You didn't say that.
Oh, I
Wait,
think
what? Because they don't want their name attached to it.
socialist legislation.
Alright, got it.
So we gotta vote on that?
Don't want that attached to their name.
Manny has the floor.
I don't really understand it.
Yeah.
Can you speak louder?
Motion to pass.
Any objections on passing? How we vote? 2/3 majority passes.
Like, it was a declaration.
Not 2/3, just a simple
Just a majority.
Right.
Is this for yeses?
This is for yeses.
Yeses.
This is for yeses. 1,
You're voting yes to pass this.
7, 8. Kimberly, is your hand up?
Yeah.
Can we keep our hands up?
Okay, why are
Yep, pass.
You see that?
Anyone abstain? Abstain.
Wait, what? What? That's what.
Don't worry about it. It passed. You just wanted to make a note of who abstained. Paul. No.
Alright. Zach.
Motion to recognize Mike.
Second.
I think it's just, my only encouragement after this, I think you want to learn time. And I think it would be a good conversation at SUNY Assembly. Those of you that are going to SUNY Assembly, you should really learn more about startups. I think, you know, it's not to bring more Starbucks and McDonald's to the area. It's about bringing startups and starting new companies. Usually there has to be some sort of a connection with a college institution. And it's also to support growth of jobs for students to have jobs to get into in the state of New York as opposed to leaving the state. So there are some things with Startup New York that are intended with the institutions, and that's why they're connected, located next to colleges. So before you go to SUNY Assembly, you should read up on what Startup New York is, because you should just be informed. Market economy, jobs, I mean, the goal is, you know, i.e. here, mechanical engineering,
create debt free
Support STEM.
jobs
Science,
adjacent to campus.
Technology, engineering, and
Math.
I know.
The next one.
Tuition hike, right?
Tuition.
Tuition.
This is essentially like the same one as last
It's
week.
the same as, just
It's
more
different
categories.
Yeah, it's for it's for students. So am I. I will. I was gonna make dinner. So I'll go to Teresa's room. She's there.
Okay. So this is similar to the one that we passed last week. It's literally the same way.
There's a word space.
Jordan, can you make it bigger?
We added a be it resolved.
You should probably not say
Bigger.
that.
Where is it? Bigger. You know when you put it together.
They're too big.
So that's good.
This one.
You can't do that?
Yeah, so this is the same one, basically the same resolution that was passed last week. The only difference is this one's directed to SUNY SA and not the state legislature. So the thing that changed here was Resolution 2. Be resolved, Princeton Senate calls for SUNY SA to retract their past legislation supporting tuition hikes. Last year, SUNY SA voted to support the SUNY tuition hikes as the rational tuition increase. This is asking SUNY SA to retract that and not support the rational tuition increase. Everything else is the same as it was last week.
Anybody want us to reread it
It's
again?
gonna be crazy, I can't wait.
Alright, what are we trying to attain tonight? We have 16.
Passing.
Manny.
I mean, this is the same for, I don't know who wasn't here yesterday, last week, but, yeah, we were here last week,
I wasn't.
Well, that legislation was passed similar last week, but only to higher ed lobby day. So it was aimed at state level, but this is more aimed at SUNY SA, so they can retract their support for tuition hikes.
Oh, so do you mean like their student assembly when you with the other SA people of telling them we do not as a collective support this?
And we want you as assemblies to not support this as well. Because SA, most of city schools have come out in favor of tuition hikes.
Alright, Nicole.
Can we just like pass it?
Yeah.
Or do people want to like discuss? Like, if you weren't here.
I just wanted to make a comment, like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of, the reason why a lot of SAs do support it is because it doesn't seem, $300 a year doesn't seem like a lot of money, and also, I'm not saying that I support it, but I was just like, just so you like, maybe have more of their perspective, and also like, it sounds very nice, like the Invest in SUNY, like, campaign that big SUNY is like pushing, it sounds like really good and like, oh, okay, yeah, we want more funding, but it's like, but we also need the students to pay more, and like, I don't know, just, I didn't read this in detail, but there needs to be a really big emphasis about how this adds up a lot, and maybe like even your comparisons, like, what you, even like what I paid my freshman year versus what I'm paying my senior year in tuition, or something like that, just like really.
Oh, bring my statements.
Alright, Fernando.
Just talking about building off what you build. I mean, it might not seem a lot if you're here for 4 years, but like, how many of us plan to have kids or have sisters, little sisters that plan on going to school? I mean, come on, it's kind of common sense that if it keeps increasing. Another thing too, if we keep saying, yeah, we're in favor of tuition hikes, what's to stop the state from saying, hey, they're stupid, they're going to keep voting for this. You know, let's keep increasing tuition. We already pay 63% of the operating costs here.
Manny.
Yeah, you know, I understand what people are arguing that, you know, what's the alternative? What's the, you know, what house or if SUNY, if the state doesn't have enough money to fund the school, how are we going to pay for the student education? It's the only logical step is to privatize or put it on students and whatever. But the issue is that we need to hold the state accountable to reinvest SUNY in a but in a better, worse, the state school, the state system stays intact. Because at the end of the day, Farrell's right. Like, those freshmen that are coming in, let's say, who are coming in next year, for example, the whole 5-year national tuition policy from 5 years ago, from 2011, 4 years ago, is already affecting those students coming in 4 years down the line. And then the freshmen that come in 2020 are gonna have the same. They're gonna have
$1,200 in 4 years.
$800, $1,600 more than they were paying 10 years ago. And the thing is, at the end of the day, like my kids, our kids who want to go to state schools, like, affordable, cheaper schools, the way our economy set up, the way everything's going on in terms of job market, in terms of wages, especially wages. You know, our wages have been stagnating for 30 years, since the 1970s. We don't have we have job growth, we don't really have wage growth. We don't have money in terms of paying for higher education. High school dropout rates are increasing every more. So people of color, especially people of color, who are the lowest classes, are not going to afford the only last bastion of affordable education. So it's about holding the state accountable. Like, let's be more creative here. Let's find alternative means. Let's do something different instead of just everybody's raised tuition. I understand national, that's their creative means, but let's do something a little different.
I was gonna motion to recognize Osado.
Second.
So like Fernando said, like the tuition is going to be increased by, Fernando said the tuition is going to increase by 2020 by $1,200. So right now it's already $20,000.
It already increased $1,200.
Yeah.
It already increased $1,200.
$300 a year.
Yeah, so it's going to increase $200 more if this passes.
It's going to have increased. So if you think about it mathematically, you're already paying like at least $20,000 a year to go to attend this institution. By that time, it'll be what? 20.
Just add, every 5 years, add $1,200.
Every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
But also, I think your 20,000 is including room and board, and not every student who goes here pays room and board.
Exactly.
But also, that also includes interest rates also.
Yeah, so I mean, like
It's a lot of money.
when I came here, yes, exactly. Like when I came here, I paid what, 18?
Yeah.
And out-of-state tuition, like our tuition right now is kind of comparable to my freshman year out-of-state tuition, which was $30,000. It's only $10,000 away. You know, that's kind of ridiculous. I'm coming to a state. I'm a resident of New York. I'm coming to a state institution, a public institution, that I'm paying for. That could be close, it could be relative towards us like my payment could be relative towards the out-of-state tuition. That kind of sounds ridiculous.
Zach.
Sweet. Yeah. So, are we also calling for a freeze in this or not?
Yes. The
Yes?
legislation
Okay.
calls for a freeze.
Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be a very tough way. Cool. This is going to be a very, very tough political fight at SUNY SA. We're going to have to really work our butts off. And if you know people on other campuses, I would say start hitting them up now. See if you can try and convince them now, because the politicking is only going to get harder the closer you get. I know I'm already talking to someone at Binghamton, so I'll see if I can tackle Binghamton. So yeah, just be prepared if you're going to SUNY SA and really talk to people and see what their opinions are about this. I did on Facebook and let's just say that blew up.
Nicole.
Yeah. Thanks, Brooks.
Great. Alright, Nicole is on the floor.
Maybe like make a direct reference to like future generations, because I think that's like a big argument point, you know?
Let's do it. Before.
Kelsey.
Let's do it. So that I can say let's pass it.
Boutros. But at the same time, we're okay with giving Sodexo Corporation a $90 increase, and we sit here and like say TAs.
Because tax dollars don't go into that at all. You can't get any state funding for
But-
food.
But yeah, but here, even this is accumulated into the financial aid. So financial aid is also increasing by the amount this is increasing. Same thing goes to the room and board. And they increase that. We increase that. Yeah, but there's a new thing under TAP and federal Pell Grant that says SUNY tuition hike. And they give you that money back.
When? Like after you graduate or?
No,
Like,
every year, that's part of your financial aid.
so then is it gonna be proportional?
Yes.
Not
There's a third one.
Like health?
It's not Pell, not Pell, there's a third one. That's currently it's $200. I think the height was $200 last year.
There's Pell,
Stafford loan?
there's Stafford, but those are loans. There's Stafford loans
Work study.
Parent Plus, and then work study.
and then there's just scholarships, EOP program.
And what?
These are grants, grants and loans are obviously.
You don't give it to if you have more than 60 credits.
Fernando.
So, I mean, I've been told, let's be real, I mean, addressing the close issue, last week when we brought it up, Jesse, said condense it, too many whereas clauses. He said, if you condense it, it has a possibility to be introduced into student essay. Has a chance to be introduced to student essay. So we want to kind of keep it like this, and if any questions be brought up, it would be brought up at student essay.
I just think that's
So do I. There was a lot of other things I wanted on here also. I've also been told to be real. Let's be real. How many of us really get enough money to cover our costs from tuition, from TAP or any kind of financial aid? Because I know I have. They cut my financial aid twice already.
EOP cut my
You're gonna be in
class.
debt regardless. Government's gonna make $51 billion in profit.
It's like the housing bubble,
$1 billion in profit off of our tuition interest. So let's be real. Financial aid doesn't work. TAP was created to provide SUNY and CUNY when? In the 1940s, 1950s? It's outdated. It's completely outdated.
60s?
Chris.
I just want to say, like, when are we going to say, like, stop? Like, when are we going to say enough is enough? Like, it's literally been increasing every single year, and it's like, think about it 10 years from now. Like, is it going to be $40,000? Like, as equivalent to the private schools now. Like, what's the point of going to a public institution where it's supposed to be more affordable? Like, we have to say stop. Like, I think, you know, some students are, like, in whatever student assembly, they're being a little ignorant in the sense where, like, oh, this is going to our school, this is going to our program, this is making everything better. Like, no, like, stop. Like, we need this. Like, it's just like, there's no point. It's losing its value as, like, an affordable school.
If they could fund prisons, they could fund our schools.
Chelsea.
Motion to pass this.
Second.
Any second?
It's called SUNY tuition.
I object.
Second.
I object. On what grounds?
Any objection?
On what grounds? On the basis that we still need to discuss this because there's still
People who don't agree.
there's still people that don't agree with this, and we need to flesh this out more fully.
Do you retract your motion?
You gotta vote the objection.
We got to vote on the
Gotta
objection.
fight.
Vote on the objection.
Just saying.
And your objection?
I object to continue the. No, I'm not objecting my objection.
No.
You gotta vote, you gotta vote to move forward with the objection, move forward with the motion.
Alright, so
Vote on the objection first.
Alright. Alright, we're voting on your objection. Your objection is?
That we need to continue this debate. There's still areas in which we need to discuss.
Because, yeah, obviously, there's a fine print in the financial aid that half of us don't know about, so we should hear about it.
Yeah, everybody else can vote what was in the objection.
Alright, we're voting on if you're moving, Zach.
Yes.
If you want to talk about this anymore, or who wants to talk about this?
I want to speak about this. Boutros wants to speak about this. Kim wants to speak about this.
I support this.
We can vote on it. If you want to speak about this more, could you raise your hands, please?
So if you vote yes on the objection.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
There's a vote of
Eight for call. 8 for call. Sorry.
8. To continue the discussion, that 8 who abstains.
Vote to continue discussion.
Alright.
All in favor? Raise your hand.
Vote to continue. 8 people.
I think we should continue this.
Vote, and we're voting on the motion of passing it.
No. Wait, did that fail?
Not passing on whether or not.
Vote yes for the objection, vote no for the objection, stay for the objection.
Yes.
What do we
You wanna
have?
go right?
2/3 or majority?
Alright.
No, I'm saying the objection is to continue discussion.
Yeah, we had 8 people.
Okay, this is
No, which means you go right to the vote. Which means you cancel out the objection.
There's like something, she was saying something. and then
You gotta finish the vote.
Who votes no on the objection?
Which means you wanna go right to a vote.
Which means you want, yes.
Like, tell you all of these things you didn't know about, and they're gonna
If you
happen.
want to go right to a vote, please raise your hand. Voting on this bill, please raise your hand if you just want to do that.
Raise them high.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost halfway. All right, we have 8 to continue on voting and 6
To go right to the vote.
to go right to the vote. So
We need a majority or 2/3?
anyone abstaining?
Okay. 2.
Not in favor.
We already did that.
Yeah.
So the objection wins.
All right, so we're continuing on.
Thank you.
With Zach.
Okay. Let me just read this comment thoroughly. Give me a hot second. Which is more than general. Okay, I already have people that are. I have a friend of mine who's going to be a grad student here. Lucky for her. I'm congratulating her. But the amount of money that she has to pay per credit is doubling. She's losing money from she lost her Pell Grant, and TAP isn't covering nearly enough. So that's an example of the burden being placed upon other students and more upon the students. And she's very fortunate to be doing the grant program, but it's going to be a struggle for even higher education. And that's just that's like the gist of what we're trying to accomplish, trying to make a higher education affordable, whether it's graduate level or undergraduate level. So that's my position on that.
What I was talking about is called the tuition credit. The tuition credit was created to offset some of the financial gap created by the recent SUNY tuition increase. This credit is automatically awarded to any student attending a SUNY school who is currently receiving TAP.
Yeah, I got like $200 from that.
Okay, that's the increase.
Tuition credit? They give me $300.
That's the increase in tuition though.
Increase is $300.
All right, Alex.
But
Alex.
$300.
I'm saying motion to recognize Jordan.
Any second?
Second.
I was gonna say the logic behind the other SUNY essays supporting the tuition increase, the rational tuition increase, is because before that there was irrational tuition increase, where they would randomly, the tuition would either stay the same level, whatever, or would randomly increase by like a couple thousand. So instead, because students hated this, I guess probably not the state, probably SUNY board, whoever is in for whoever the chancellor was at the time, decided to respond by then slowly increasing it so that students wouldn't randomly get a giant increase, which is the logic behind supporting it. Something else I was going to say. What was it?
Question as to why.
What?
Question as to why. What do you mean why we shouldn't?
Well, yeah, we shouldn't support it because they voted for the first one 4 or 5 years ago, and now they're asking again. And who's to say won't ask again? And who's to say won't ask again? At some point, students have to draw a line in the sand and be like, stop putting the costs on students. We should not be paying most of the tuition here. That's some private school nonsense. You should be, instead of trying to cover for the cuts to education by increasing tuition costs on students, you should stop giving tax credits and tax abatements to corporations and these big businesses that are buying out the legislatures and Governor Cuomo in the first place. We shouldn't have to pay because you're giving them breaks, you know?
Fernando.
Let's be real. TAP doesn't cover graduate students at all. It doesn't.
Okay.
Just last week when we went to go to Higher Action Day, we were fighting to get legislators to support graduate students with TAP. And their argument was like, oh, well, if we give them TAP, we're going to have to give you less. Well, why? Why? Prisoners, they give prisoners about $48,000 per prison state. They give about $8,000 to every student who goes to public school and not higher education. That is not fair at all. Not fair at all. And like Jordan said, if we say yes now, we keep saying yes, who's going to put the foot down? They say, let's be realistic. Chile, the country of Chile, students revolted. Students protested for 3 years because tuition was too high. You know what they got? 27% tax on corporations to pay for school. If it could be done there, it could goddamn be done here in this damn country. That's beautiful. Whatever.
Nicole.
I motion to recognize.
Second.
Yeah.
So on that TAP note, this year I didn't get TAP because they said I made too much money. I was making enough money to pay for my living expenses. I was doing a service year where I was being paid less than minimum wage, and TAP told me you made too much money. So TAP does not cover for tuition. It's not the same thing. Like,
He mentioned the tuition credit, which I know what you're saying.
but that's connected. But you said you get that if you're connected to TAP. TAP denies me completely, so I would get none of that. I have gotten none of that. I've been paying for school all on my own. So,
That's
so like, but saying like TAP is gonna cover our tuition is like completely avoiding the discussion.
Alright, Chelsea has the floor. Chris.
I agree with Fernando, and I think like this whole tuition increase is just a matter of like the government and everyone just trying to manipulate us into choosing this or that or either or, and I think it's really our job to say, fuck that, and like work with us as students, and like I just don't understand like our tuition is increasing. Like, why is the minimum wage increasing as much as tuition is increasing every year? Like, why aren't jobs like being like, why aren't salaries going up as frequently as tuition is going up? Like, it's just not making any sense. Like, where is it leaving us? Like, it just sucks. So yeah, I agree.
Sarah.
I just want to give some context here. I'm going to a SUNY school. My parents went to SUNY schools. My grandparents went to SUNY schools. My grandparents went to SUNY schools. They went for free. My parents paid about $2,000 in tuition. By the time I graduate in 2017, I'm going to be paying $6,000. So, like Steve said, where does this stop? Like, we are capable, the state is capable of paying for this. We certainly, like Jordan said, there's money in the banana stand. It's there.
There's always money in the banana stand. Especially when it comes to
Kimberly has the floor.
I think everyone here would like. I think every student in the world would like to go to school as cheap as possible. I don't think that's what the argument. I think y'all just all listen to each other and coming up with responses for the point that someone says. So if somebody says like shoes, you think you say laces. Like I don't think y'all actually listening to what each other's saying. I think that everyone here wants to. Nobody wants to pay more money for school. I don't think any student in the world wants to pay more money for school. I think that the people at this table want to make sure that when we go to student assembly, we know what we're talking about, and we're making sure that we're not just going there being very emotional and saying like, I don't want to pay for school anymore. No one wants to pay for school. I don't think that's why they're for it. I don't think they're ignorant or like. I think there's different aspects and different views to this. And the furthering of the conversation is more of a everyone keeps saying the same thing over and over and over again. Like we get it. We don't want to pay more for school. Now let's talk about what these fine print on our financial aid are. Let's talk about what these things are, and let's really get to what we're going to be going, because we're going to go over there and they're going to just be like, okay, thank you for your emotional speech. Now let me tell you why 3% of da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? Am I making sense? Like know what we're talking about, not just how we feel about what's being spoken about. That was it.
You haven't actually looked at.
I was gonna say right.
Alright, Adrian has the floor.
I don't think they.
I think like the root of all of this is, well, at least from my understanding, is we did have this funding for the most part. We had more funding in SUNY. Then there was because from Zach made a Facebook status asking about this. Basically, the most annoying responses against this were, oh, well, how are you going to pay for school? Oh, you can just go to community college. It's cheaper. You don't have to go to a SUNY, this elaborate, beautiful SUNY that's like supposed to be Ivy League now. Like, you don't have to go here. It's just like ridiculous because we don't see how we deserve to go to school for free. I think that it's not that we don't want to pay, but we deserve to go to school for free or for as little money as possible. And I think that people don't understand that, and they don't understand how we used to not pay this. And even like with little things, how minimum wage used to be more valuable than it is now. It used to be less, but it used to actually kind of be what the equivalent of $15 is now. It's just like, there's no history connected to this. It's like, well, we don't have money now, and that's it. So basically, I think our legislation needs to be geared more towards the root of the problem, and that's money going to corporations, and tax breaks being given to corporations, and campaign financing, and these corporations corporations financing campaigns that then influence politicians to make these decisions to cut SUNY funds because they won't be a politician if it wasn't for these corporations. We need to take that power away from corporations to influence politicians like this, because otherwise we're screwed. So,
Alright, we have Zach.
Well, that's like not the one.
Motion. Yeah. Alright, motion vote.
Second.
No, it's a motion to vote. Motion to vote.
Any second?
To pass?
Second to pass, yeah, I guess I do need to pass.
Any objection?
I
On what ground?
think we should just let Eric speak quickly because I think he has some really good points.
Yes.
I retract.
Motion recommend Eric.
Any second?
I think the one major issue that's being overlooked here is the fact that the state legislature promised with your tuition increase that quality of education, everything was going to get better. We need to make improvements in the SUNY system. Obviously things get more expensive. But instead of going along with that, they're withdrawing funding as years go by, so that they're just using your tuition increase to fill the gap that they used to fund. And the more you say you'll pay more, the less they can put into it. Does that make sense? So nothing's like increasing. Yeah.
They're filling the gap that they're using for this.
Right, so they're putting in less, you're putting in more, quality of education is flatline.
Zach.
Yeah.
Motion recognized Sal.
Second.
Second.
The percentage right now, because I know that we pay 63% of the tuition. So what would it be in 2020 if this tuition hike? Do we know, like, would it?
It depends on what the state's putting in at that point. They're not giving you a plan for what they're supposed to put in.
Every year they put in the budget, so it depends on.
Every year, but not
on 5 years.
advance, like we're forced to do.
Yeah, is there, I know this is kind of a whim right now, but is there any way that we can request?
Get into the field of projections?
State budgeting?
Yeah,
I think state budgeting in the next 5 years.
If you look at the past 5 years, they'll be funding even less. You know, because they've cut you 1.7 billion since 2008. If you look at that trend, it's going to be higher percentage on your end, lower on theirs, the exact rate. But
Kelsey.
Motion to pass this
Second.
legislation.
Any second? All in favor of passing this legislation? All in favor?
I got that. Yes, what?
In favor.
Voting.
Are you in favor of passing this legislation?
I'm in favor.
All abstaining. 3 abstaining. All now in favor. Not in favor. All right.
I co-sponsor.
Wait, you can't not vote for it and co-sponsor at the same time. That doesn't make any sense.
This is he co-sponsored it last time.
I know. So you can't co-sponsor it and not vote for it.
Okay, so, can I speak?
Yeah.
Can I not co-sponsor it anymore?
Yeah. Motion for Zach not to co-sponsor.
Yo, ouch! Wow!
That's right, it looks better without your name on it anyway.
You object to that, thank you. I'm friends.
Can we quiet down? Kelsey has the floor.
Yo, I'll fight it.
Motion to co-sponsor this as a Senate because it's very important that we co-sponsor as a Senate and Student Assembly wants to take it seriously.
It won't because they have to
Fight for it.
This is a motion to co-sponsor.
But they're not gonna co-sponsor because they abstained from voting on it.
Not everyone votes.
Are you gonna co-sponsor it?
No. Check your vote.
No, I don't.
Alright.
I object.
On what?
On what
They're not
ground?
going to vote for voting on
Give
it.
them a
No, you
chance.
retract.
They just need to pass it.
Alright.
So there's a motion on the floor. What's the motion?
There's a motion on the floor.
What is it?
Kelsey retracts her vote.
Can there be some order here, please?
Alright,
What's
can we
going on?
focus? Jesse.
What happened?
Alright.
What's going on?
Does Manny want to talk? Does Manny
Alright, Jordan. Bring it back. Alright, Kelsey retracted her motion on voting to co-sponsor it as an entire Senate body.
Yo, there are mad side conversations going on.
James,
Please
get
shut
back to the
up.
table, please.
I'm sorry.
We don't know
I'm really
what's
sorry,
going
but shut up.
Hold on. Take control, please.
You retract your motion, correct?
Yes,
Alright.
I don't know. Don't matter.
Alright, Manny.
Just quick, who's going?
Wait, sorry. Alex is.
Tear my hair out.
I'm so lost, just skip me.
Yeah.
Who he is going to assembly?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Alright, we're gonna be like the most to the end because SUNY's reports always roll to teach assembly. So we gotta make sure that Friday night,
I'm
before the
driving.
business meeting on Saturday, when they vote on this legislation,
I think I'm done.
we politic, talk to schools, talk to representatives, talk to community colleges especially.
Talk to workshops.
Huh?
Workshops. Those who aren't voting delegates.
There are workshops.
No, we can shift it into workshops with other non-voting delegates.
The more numbers they see us, supporting this and like really advancing what we think is best, like, or should it. Numbers important.
They're coming in heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright. What's next on the agenda?
Wait.
The pass.
Yeah.
Oh, so we can't get sponsors now.
Okay.
No, you can sponsor and then you pass.
We're at inclusive introduction resolution.
Who told you that? No,
Yeah.
individually.
Who's
You're supposed to sponsor prior to the passing.
Green sponsor?
Yeah, this was Bree's resolution, basically,
Sponsor's supposed to be here, right?
Yeah, we should just table it for next.
I'm one of the co-sponsors and I help rewrite it.
Bree wanted me to talk about it for her, but I
Can't
don't
vote
know.
on it.
I didn't.
We can talk about it.
We can like read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we quiet down?
It's basically just saying give your PGPs, and introducing inclusive introduction.
Except for here, it's in the assembly.
Everywhere?
For, I think there are 2 resolutions.
There's multiple.
Good
It's just like the chance to.
And then one for administration too. We can find it.
You can't open it up because it's an element.
This version of film is no longer supported.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
I mean,
Hey, the blue.
the blue.
Alright, so what's this resolution about? One more time?
It's basically about, preferred gender pronouns, including them in introductions. I believe she wanted that to be incorporated into SA, I think administrative policy and SUNY SA, but it'll be like
Like policy, like what do you mean? Like when
I
I'm
don't
introducing
remember.
myself?
Am I blind?
Nah, that's tonight's agenda.
No, this is,
Maybe she added to it
Fortunate
just too.
No,
that's
Carissa sent out, and Bree's responding saying she wasn't gonna be here. I mean, I have it in mind anyway.
Type it in the search bar.
Or her birthday.
You could just check her email. And I'm sure it needs to be corresponding.
I mean, I have it on mine. I can just switch.
Alright, so can you?
That sucks.
Why is the school paying for better internet? It actually gets all this money we get for app internet.
What we
You
can
get
just
to
do
listen
this.
to you.
I don't know. I mean,
Really?
these other 2 aren't as time sensitive as the ones we just did. Oh, right.
I don't know how to do a couple of terminology.
Alright, who we focus?
I could probably pull it up on my laptop if we could.
Alex has the floor.
Yeah, it's just the internet right now. My phone.
I can back it up. I'm only doing this because Bree wanted me. She specifically messaged me and asked me. So I'm gonna pull it up in like a second. Hold up. I'll read it.
Oh, I'm on LTE.
Once the horrible internet in here.
Yeah, no, the internet's being really sucky right now.
It's making really sucky.
Can we all just switch to LTE for a second so I can get all the Wi-Fi?
Alright.
Absorb it.
Airplane mode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I already did it. That's the piece.
Maybe I should have downloaded
Well, it's not progress.
By the way, Bree has like 4 resolutions coming next
She
year.
emailed me again and saying that she specifically mostly wanted to talk about
Alright, Adriana has the floor.
over anything. She wanted to talk about at least if we could get to anything. Oversight committee, declaration with supportive procedures document. So I think that means UPD oversight committee. So I did read that legislation. I don't know if there's any other oversight committee legislation.
The UPD one is already on the agenda, but what was that procedure?
Oh.
Oversight committee declaration with supportive procedures document.
Oh, for the oversight.
Yes.
So that's what she wants to do now?
And then the second one was arbitration clause resolution. Then the third was last semester's resolution by me supporting, asking someone to redraft the following legislation with that respective for SUNY assembly. So that's the PGP's one. And
Which one does she want for assembly?
For assembly, she wants the PGP's resolution and inclusive housing resolution.
So it's the BGP's and then inclusive housing.
Because she's in the hospital right now, that's why she's not here. I don't know if it's her or a partner.
Can we call
So
her?
I think
Like, Facebook message her partner.
that's at least 3 more. I don't know if you just want
They're
to.
mad quick. They're really short. I reviewed them.
I see. the UPD oversight one might not be as.
Let's get the PGP in the house.
That's what I'm saying, like, I think we should do the essay one, the SUNY essay ones.
Yes.
Cause those are,
That one is SUNY.
Is the UPD also trying to go into assembly?
I don't think so. UPD oversight.
Alright, can we get some order?
SUNY essay?
Yes, that's the order. Item number 1 in your inbox there.
No, I see it. Yeah. Technically, I'm gonna have to.
And two people respect that. They respect it, but you respect
I respect your call.
You're all wrong.
It sounds like it's on.
Alright, so what are we trying to do?
Trying to pull up the resolution that we want to bring.
I thought you said it was on. It sounded like it was on.
Oh no, it was off. I just turned it on.
The one over there might be on. One of them's on.
Yeah.
I have the PGP one pulled up. Inclusive introductions resolution. Do you want me to just read it?
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas there is currently no policy in place for institutionalization of preferred gender pronouns, PGPs, and introductions in settings such as meetings, classes, events, or elsewhere SUNY-wide. And whereas the lack of institutionalized PGP introductions is restricting students from identifying or expressing their gender, and whereas it is stated therein university-wide that it is the responsibility of all members of the academic community to ensure through word and action that discrimination on the basis of race, religion, gender, ethnic background, sexual orientation, age, or handicap is not present in college activities or in the college community. And whereas students prefer inclusive and safer educational facilities and require it for strengthened perspective-taking and refined learning strategies. And whereas SUNY New Paltz can lead the way in being more inclusive to all cultures, therefore the 59th Student Senate proposes a resolution. Be it resolved through the 59th Student Senate resolved that SUNY New Paltz Student Association adopt the inclusive practice of sharing one's PGPs among other items in their introductions, and be it resolved that we, the 59th Student Senate, resolve to call upon the SUNY New Paltz administration and subordinate offices to adopt the same inclusive practice as the SUNY New Paltz Student Association. So, I guess my only issue with this is that it doesn't say that it means every initial meeting, or, because if we've all initially met already, so I don't know if we would need to do our pronouns every time, even though people's pronouns do change. So I don't know if because that's a kind of a gray area. Did we all get that? Okay. I guess, should I be like Bree and just stand up there and like read this? Okay.
Can you make it bigger?
I guess as
Make it bigger is always the
Wait,
first step.
is that your email?
political queer.
I don't have a link to it. I thought you were sending it to your email.
Oh, I can make it bigger. Scroll up and down. It's just oh yeah, that'll do. It's up.
There you go. Chill.
Technology. Okay. Where is the scroll? There's only 2 papers off.
Okay. So it says, we the 59 Student Senate resolve that SUNY New Paltz Student Association adopt the inclusive practice of sharing one's PGPs among other items in their introductions, and be resolved through the 59 Student Senate resolve to call upon SUNY New Paltz administration and subordinate offices to adopt the same inclusive practice as SA.
So this is, where's the SUNY essay part?
SUNY New Paltz Student Association.
No,
This one's
SUNY
administrative.
essay part, this is the Senate.
Oh, she said that she wanted it to go to, maybe, there's a different one, but I don't think there is. But she said that she wanted PGPs to go to.
Oh, it needs to be past this week for student assembly.
Yeah, that's all I want.
Well, this isn't going to student assembly.
Oh, this isn't?
Apparently, it's not in the resolution.
Maybe inclusive housing, or
James?
Yeah, others do.
Um,
maybe we can switch this one out.
This resolution by me is support, asking that
It's been a long
someone.
day, guys. So
Okay, she wants us to basically redraft this, go with the perspective of SUNY Assembly, right? Pretty much copy and paste. Also housing handbook resolution so that other schools can be inclusive. Yeah, so basically take all of Bree's resolutions and make it applicable for SUNY Center. And just change that language.
All of them.
Alright,
Her email says,
James
so.
is next.
So I haven't read any of her legislation yet. But
there's a lot.
Do we need to write a resolution calling for us to adopt the PGB policy? Why can't we just amend?
We already
the
have one.
Yeah.
SA already has one.
So.
No, we don't. Well, this is gonna be
Like a couple days ago.
Alex has the floor.
So is this trying to be passed for the student assembly?
Point of clarification?
Sure.
So you're saying there is no PGB policy, and you're saying we do. I'm confused.
The SUNY Student Association passed legislation here where you do PGPs 2 or 3 years ago. It's already a standing legislation. This body does that at any meeting where you do introductions. Yeah, I mean, it already exists for this body.
Yeah, it's understandable. And
Alright.
also people's pronouns change, so that's like,
at least another week.
but
Alright, Alex has the floor.
Motion to recognize Jordan.
Hang on. As got from Jesse Hicks, turns out we have another week or two to pass things to bring them to assembly.
Oh.
They just have to- we don't have to pass them tonight to get them to assembly.
Motion.
Motion.
Motion to table everything. Table it all. Table.
Objection.
Alright. Chelsea has the floor.
Okay. So apparently we want to aim this at SUNY Assembly, correct?
Yes.
So why don't we take away those other 2 clauses because they don't really need to see that and just say the same. Basically, you can just erase one with be it resolved, and then the other one.
well, we might actually have to even acknowledge that we already have this policy, so this needs a big revamp. So this needs to be with CRC, since it's not actually something that people have to creatively know.
No, clearly we didn't know what Mike just said. So
Yeah, I
we
just
have
heard
to-
that.
So now we should table this CRC because.
Mike said that we
SUNY has, this
SUNY
body already has a legislation to do PGP amendments.
Okay.
So reworded for SUNY Assembly with the acknowledgement that we already have that policy.
Got it.
Alright,
Except for,
Alex.
I don't know if this policy also is trying to apply to SUNY New Paltz administration and subordinate offices to adopt the same inclusive practices. So you maybe make it a be it resolved where we acknowledge that SUNY SA, that New Paltz SA already has this policy, and we want our administration to have this policy, and also the rest of, and then a separate one for the rest of SUNY. Is that?
So we're gonna have to.
Maybe, I guess, because wouldn't two legislation make more sense? Because
Alright.
bring one pointed at the administration, and then another one pointed at SUNY?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, Alex.
That makes sense.
Motion to table until we get better understanding of what Bree wanted to come from this.
Second. Any second?
Second.
Objection.
No.
Alright. Kimberly has the floor.
Which means
No.
you have just
Yeah,
no.
wait,
You can go to the
just-
next item in the
No,
agenda.
I just wanted to table it.
He said, he said at least to the next Friday or 2 weeks from that, he'll get back to us. But it doesn't have to be this week. Either next Wednesday or the Wednesday after break.
Alright, Nicole.
We can do
Or
it.
is it on that way?
Alright, Zach.
What does everyone want me to say?
Table. Everyone wants
it's already
to
tabled.
We already tabled. Just
No, we tabled this one. Yeah, we
Yeah,
tabled
that's
this
next
one.
item.
Table.
Right, but
And
just-
that-